The story starts as the grand hall that shines. In there a girl, the main character, says, "Your Grace." Olivia sits regally, her hands clasped, but her internal monologue reveals what she truly thinks. This man sitting before me is known nationwide as the impotent Duke Ian Tyrone, one of only 3 dukes in this empire, maternal cousin to the emperor, gifted with both wealth and honor. Olivia's thoughts continue. So what if he's impotent? As if that's even a flaw. It doesn't matter. No, frankly, I prefer it. Olivia reflects. My second chance at life. I've meticulously measured the pros and cons, and reached a conclusion. Lord Tyrone is the answer. Ian smiles. So you're the famous Duchess, Lady Parnell? Olivia's hands clench her dress. No, Your Grace, you are mistaken. My name is Olivia Florence. You may address me as Lady Florence. Ian raises an eyebrow. However, are you not wed to the Duke? A flashback shows Olivia in a wedding dress, a look of grim determination on her face. Yes, the Duke, the jerk James Parnell. Never again will I, she replies. You mean my spouse, destined to not return from war for the next decade? She pours a cup of tea and says, according to imperial law, any marriage not consummated on its first night is rendered void. She sips her tea. And I, having never even seen his face, I am still Olivia Florence, she says with a smile. Ian returns the smile. What a daring remark. Okay, Lady Florence, what is your reason for requesting my acquaintance? Olivia says. Your Grace, have you heard the song that has spread throughout the streets? Ian smirks. Ah yes, the song, the lyrics of which suggest we are getting busy. Olivia pauses. Straight to the point. She clears her throat and says, those lyrics have put me in a difficult position, and I would like Your Grace to take some responsibility. Ian asks, responsibility? What responsibility do you expect of me? Olivia grins. Duke Tyrone. She rises, her eyes sparkling with mischief. I request that you marry me. Ian's eyes widen in surprise. A few months ago, Olivia wakes up in a familiar room. As she opens her eyes, she thinks, it's already bright outside. Ugh, my back. She sits up, surprised. Huh, my back is actually fine. She looks around the room. This room looks like the one I used at the beginning of my marriage. The room from 20 years ago. Am I seeing things? She rubs her eyes. She rings the bell. Let's get a start on my birthday festivities. But there was no response. Olivia gets confused. She rings the bell again, harder. But there was no response again. Huh! She feels annoyed, and then smirks. The help must have lost their minds. She clenches her fists. About time I taught them a lesson. Olivia slams the door open and strides out. She calls out, Marcia. Yes, my lady. I am here. Marcia rushes to her, flustered. Why you called? Marcia asks nervously. Olivia glares at her. What is this? Why is no one coming at the ring of my bell? Marcia fidgets. That's because... Looking at her, Olivia notices her. Olivia grabs Marcia. Since when was Marcia this young? She doesn't look a day older than when she was first assigned as my personal maid. She smirks. I must have worked myself numb. She grabs Marcia's shoulder and says, I'm feeling exhausted after preparing all the festivities. Fetch me some peppermint tea, would you? Marcia is stunned. Huh? Fetch? Me? Olivia raises an eyebrow. Then who else? Olivia crosses her arms. That face, as if she's never done it before. Suddenly, a loud voice booms down the hallway. How dare you cause such a racket in the morning? Olivia gets shocked and thinks, how would I ever forget that voice? A flashback shows Olivia, under an umbrella, standing in the rain at a gravesite. She remembers, my first mother-in-law, who died of sickness 10 years ago. In confusion, she calls out, ma'am. A woman with a stern expression appears. First mother-in-law, the elegant jackass. Her first mother-in-law says, ma'am, you better address me properly as Madame Parnell. Just then another interjects. Oh my, who burdens me with such cacophony in the morning? Her second mother-in-law, the whiny jackass, says, I already had a headache to start the day. Olivia gets shocked, my second mother-in-law. That can only mean... Just then another voice shouts, these little shits. Her third mother-in-law, the ignorant jackass, yells, what are you going on about? Do you want me to shut you up? Olivia starts to laugh. Ha ha ha, she thinks. I guess at this point, it's pointless to deny that this is actually happening. The worn-down room. My 3 mother-in-laws. My God! Have I just come back to when I was 20 years old? In the future before she came back, the rain pours down on the Parnell estate as Olivia in black, face hidden by a lace veil, taps on a desk. She plops down on sofa. A loud clang echoes through the halls. Someone was coming in armor. As the Duke Parnell walks covers in blood, a maid gasps, "Your Grace." "Sir." But she shuts up as he looks at her with fiery eyes. "Is that blood?" Other maids whisper in shock. Someone opens the door, and it's James Parnell, Duke and Patriarch of House Parnell, covered in blood. Olivia stares, shocked. "It's you." Flash forward to the present, where Olivia looks dazed. "Tut tut," Lady Parnell scolds. "Just the table manners I would expect from someone so uneducated. Didn't your parents teach you it is impolite to daze off with company present?" Olivia retorts. "Ma'am." But she cut her off. "How many times have I told you? It's Grand Duchess Parnell." Olivia frowns and says, "Then why don't you do me the same courtesy and call me Lady Parnell?" Lady Parnell is not amused. "What did you say?" she demands. Olivia smiles sweetly. "In case you didn't notice, I'm the matriarch of this house. As His dear Grace is away at war, I act on behalf of all his authority in his absence. You whine at me, asking me to respect you, even when you are not prepared to respect me, the acting head of this household." Lady Parnell frowns, "You little," but Olivia thinks, "What a load off my chest." Her third mother-in-law, pointing a finger at Olivia, says, "Dear, what right do you have to call him that way?" Olivia replies evenly, Because he is my husband." Her mother-in-law pushed her chair away and yells, "You little brat, say that again." One of the other women at the table gasps, "My ears are ringing so much, I can't finish dining. Could you please quiet down?" She mumbles, "I mean, it is times like this that I do assume all of you do this to just spite me." Olivia thinks to herself, "She's the same age I used to be. Does she realize how childish she sounds?" She decides, "Ha, screw this." Olivia looks directly at the whining woman. "Then you can dine alone in your chamber." Her second mother-in-law gets shocked. "What?" Olivia continues. "Do you really have to whine about everything like a spoiled little child?" The woman is near tears. How dare you?" Olivia's words hang in the air, leaving the others at the table speechless, her even sobbing. Lady Parnell, wiping her mouth with a napkin, says, "You must be completely insane." Olivia adds, "On the contrary, these are all sane things that needed to be said. In the absence of the Duke, Lord Parnell, I have the highest authority within this household, acting on behalf of the Duke. Please show me the proper respect." Furthermore, Lady Parnell shows no difference as Olivia continues, "I need you to waive the rights to the Parnell finances." Lady Parnell scoffs internally. "Wouldn't you like that?" One of the women at the table chimes in. "She's right, dear Miss Simpleton. We are not talking about chump change. This is House Parnell, one of the greatest houses in the Empire." Olivia retorts, "Do you even know what I majored in at the academy?" "It's accounting." She sighs. "I mean, I don't even see why I am asking for your permission." Olivia calls out, "Reginald." Reginald bows. "Yes, my lady." Olivia instructs, "In the future, bring all documents pertaining to the estate directly to my room, and prepare for me a large room that allows me to conduct work." Lady Parnell shouts, "Reginald!" Lady Parnell slams her hand on the table and says, "Choose your next word very carefully." Olivia, clenching on her seat, thinks to herself, "And she shows her true colors?" She asks Reginald, "Consider this, Reginald, who do you think you will be serving longer, me or her?" Reginald looks anxiously between the two women. He finally announces, "Regarding this matter, I will consult the Lord Duke himself directly." Her third mother-in-law fumes. "You dare to bother my son, tasked with fighting for this empire, with meddlesome letters." Olivia smirks. "That sounds like a great idea." She gets shocked and looks at her first mother-in-law. Lady Parnell looks at Olivia and smirks. Olivia, now alone, stomps into her room and slams the door. Sliding open a desk drawer, she retrieves a quill and paper. "They want a letter? They'll get a letter!" She begins to write. At the military barracks, James is shirtless, toweling off after a long day of war. Meanwhile, Olivia's letter to her husband reads, "Dear beloved husband, suffering in the heart of war. While I apologize for suddenly burdening you with matters of our household, I must divulge that I am completely excluded from all internal matters of our estate, stuck in a corner room like the help, without the proper treatment that a lady of the household deserves. Given the opportunity to handle matters of our estate, I vow to take it as my personal responsibility to double the size of our estate upon your Grace's return. I also affirm that this is not only a matter of our estate, but a matter of peace in our household and home, and request that you side with me on this matter at hand, hoping for your Grace's safe return." Your spouse, Olivia. James sits alone in his room at night, rereading Olivia's letter. Then he looks up in the sky. Olivia explains, the Parnell estate has 3 different jackasses. First, the whiny jackass, the second mother-in-law, always complaining. Then there's the ignorant jackass, birth mother to the Duke, also a second mother-in-law, constantly flying off the handle. And finally, the elegant jackass, the first mother-in-law, who through conniving means has taken control of the estate. The former Duke introduced multiple wives with the sole purpose of continuing his bloodline. The moment she married into this household, this pile of excrement was waiting for her. But now, she's got a second chance at life, back as her 20-year-old self, and she's started a small revolution. She has to reconstruct the estate finances ruined by Lady Parnell, protect the peace of this household, and protect herself. Later the 2 maids murmur as they watch her. The thought of it all makes her smile. But then a servant interrupts. Reginald says, "Ma'am, a letter from His Grace." It's sealed with the Parnell crest. Her eyes widen. She opens it, expecting something. But as she reads, her face contorts in disbelief. "Please do not cause further divide in the household. Listen to what my mothers have to say. You. She rips the letter to shreds, screaming, "Son of a bitch!" She falls to the floor. Was I being too naive? She thinks to herself. I mistakenly assumed this second chance at life would just be a breeze. Of course James would do that. Then and now, he never sides with me. He hugs her. I'm screwed. Completely screwed. The 3 mothers-in-law loom over her, smirking. A few days later, in her room, her chimney was empty, her things were also empty, and she was served stale bread. Crap. She shivers in bed, thinking. Those salty jackasses. The cost of the revolution was high. She went to find the firewood. She finds one of the mother-in-laws holding a basket of firewood, smiling wickedly. The drastic treatment began after the war for authority was lost. Back in bed, she stabs at a piece of bread with a knife. I was too naive, of course he sides with him, mummies. She stabs the bread again. Am I supposed to stay with a man who doesn't have my back? She picks up the bread, and was about to throw it, but her third mother-in-law come barging. She glares at Olivia during the act. Olivia gets stunned and doesn't throw it. Her mother-in-law asks, Are all daughter-in-laws this lazy? She asks, glaring. Your mother-in-laws are awake and about, while you just lie there. She adds, smirking, You better expect that James will have scum like you removed from this household the moment he returns. She jolts up in bed. What? A flashback shows James, bloodied and bruised. She thinks, Wait, this is my second chance at life. There's no need for me to hold on to James again. She snickers to herself while her mother-in-law is confused. She grabs the mother-in-law's hand and says, Ma'am, you are truly a genius. The mother-in-law asks, What are you? What do you mean? She smirks, thinking, James Parnell, we are done. Later she walks outside, thinking, Either way, how to make this divorce a reality. The dukedom, House of Parnell, is blade to the empire, a family in service to the empire for over a century. But even this thriving household, she picks a rose, in recent years left only one heir, James. The empire needed to justify sending the sole heir of this household to war. If he is unwed, he cannot be sent to war, the emperor suggests. If that stands as the issue, why don't we just find him a suitor? She thinks. And I was that very suitor, chosen as a justification. She holds the rose. And solely because the Duke and I share a birthday, she cries out. Arar, how can I nullify this marriage? She sighs, sitting down. She picks at the petals of the rose. Should I just go to the emperor in tears? That my impotent husband was incapable of consummating our marriage? She shreds the rose. But that's not the case with James, is it? Flashbacks of them together play in her mind. On the contrary, she blushes, thinking, if we were to actually talk impotency, I did hear the emperor had a cousin who fits the label better. 2 years ago, at a party, as the nobles dance, a tipsy girl says, My lady, be careful. But she bumps into someone, spilling her drink. The drink crashes to the floor. Be careful, my lady, someone asks. Are you okay? Ian Tyrone catches her arm. She says, Why, your grace? He steadies her. Murmurs fill the air as everyone watches. The girl thinks nervously it had to be Duke Tyrone, of all people. Wait. Her face flushes as she realizes this could be her chance to capture his attention for good. I feel dizzy, she says, leaning. Embrace him, your grace, she says, a sly smile spreading across her face. Just like the other night. What? So those two got together? One lady whispers. The other murmurs. My gosh, can you believe that? But suddenly Ian slaps his hand against her and says, I'd embrace you, but you don't even get me semi-hard. The girl and everyone there gets shocked, and we see the Duke's lack of reaction. Someone murmurs, Oh dear heavens, and from that day on, the nationwide title for him was the impotent Duke. Olivia thinks, but there's no one better to remarry than him. What a bother. How do I bag that passionless man? Suddenly she heard, Lily Bridge is falling down. Oh my darling! A maid sings, marching up the stairs. The people of this empire loved music. Even the bards of the streets made a fair wage from singing. The bards were normally tasked with creating songs about the empire's celebrities. She decides, that's it. I should write a song, with some steamy lyrics of romance. She thinks, imagining herself in his arms. A few days later, street urchins are singing. The Duchess, Lady Parnell, couldn't stand her lonely nights. Every night, her window ajar, firing up her lantern lights. Into her chambers, the secret visitor comes up, getting busy with a man, who we know can't get at you up. Meanwhile, Romeo Alkesis, a friend of Olivia, asks, You made sure the letter reaches Ollie? His servant replies, Yes, sir. He sighs and wonders, Olivia, what are you up to? In his letter he writes to Olivia, I did as you asked, but I'm concerned of the song getting out of hand. Olivia responds in her mind, Great work, Romeo. No wonder he's destined to become an imperial consort. Romeo Alkesis, her best friend, and future imperial consort of this empire, thanks to the bards that the wealthy Alkesis house of countship supports. The song was a major hit. Just a week after its inception, rumors were spreading through the empire. Not a single imperial citizen could go about without knowing this song. Olivia overhears a maid singing. The Duchess, Lady Parnell, couldn't stand her lonely nights. Every night, her window ajar, firing up her lantern lights. She muses, Maybe I should have been a lyricist. This asks for a follow-up project once this works out. She thinks, the husband bird, such a dumbass Tweety. His three mother birds so whiny and sure. She grins. Olivia writes, No worries, Romeo. This song getting out of hand is exactly what I want. She remembers her mother-in-law's torture and continues, This is hell. Divorce is not the worst, but the best I can ask for. Thanks for listening to my favor. Your dear friend, Olivia. Then she thinks, now it's time for Lord Tyrone to make his move. 3 days later, the Duke's mother bursts into Olivia's room. Why, you little? People must have seen you out and about like a proper flizzy. No wonder such songs are in the streets. Olivia, without blankets, thinks, Damn, it's cold. She innocently replies, Ma'am, I have no idea what you mean. You know very well. I haven't been permitted to leave my quarters in weeks. The Duke's mother stammers. Tea then. Olivia continues, I really don't see why you are so mad, but please calm down. The Duke's mother's patience snaps. Calm? Does it look I can stay calm? You are tainting my son's precious name. Olivia wonders. And how is that any of my business? Olivia asks. What are you on about? The Duke's mother says. Madame Rosa was at a tea party today, and all the ladies there were telling her. At the tea party a woman asks, Madame Parnell, have you heard the rumors? Lady Parnell asks, Rumor? What rumor, may I ask? Of the women says, that your daughter-in-law, Lady Parnell, and the Duke, Lord Tyrone, are getting busy. Olivia plays innocently. Oh my, they're saying that on the streets. What a shame for me, and the Duke must be so embarrassed. Her mother-in-law yells, Embarrassed my friggin' ass! What about these ignorant mongrels tainting my son's name? You should be cheering your war hero husband, not letting his name be left used as a joke. Olivia stops her. That is rather odd, she exclaims. How did such a rumor come to be, when I am locked in these quarters? She grins, saying, I'd better confront the man in person. Olivia receives a letter. 3 p.m. At the Aramir, Ian Tyrone. Olivia thinks, at the Aramir, he really isn't leaving anything to chance. The Aramir was the most popular tea house in the capital, the perfect place for the Duke to rid himself of any rumors of secret encounters. Looking in the mirror, she thinks, not that the situation fares bad for me either. Obviously, Romeo was already making a fuss about the matter. The Emperor himself mentioned the matter at the Grand Council. Anything fares better than repeating another torturous 20 years. Olivia thinks, Ian Tyrone, you will have to accept my offer. Meanwhile, at Tyrone household, a servant says, Your Grace, the letter was delivered to the Duchess. The Duke smirks. Is that so? A carriage arrives, bearing the seal of House Parnell. Of course, all the gossips are whispering already. That lady is the Duchess, the one in the rumors. Olivia, unfazed by the whispers, thinks to herself. Chatter all you want. This is not my first rodeo. She remembers her past where she was remarked reckless, without any sense of manners. She thinks, even those awful experiences have prepared me for this. At the fancy establishment, she walks around. A servant asks, Do you have a reservation, ma'am? Presenting herself, she states, Yes, I do. It should be under His Grace, Lord Ian Tyrone. The waiter, slightly flustered, says, Oh, I see. Come this way. As they walk, she notes that their sitting was ahead from all the other nobles. She thinks, Perfect positioning for the occasion. The waiter announces, Right here, ma'am. But she observes, He's not here yet. With a devious smirk, she thinks, A game of wits? Then aloud to the waiter, she asks, So, what tea courses do you offer here? When he's clearly confused, she presses, Tea courses, what is your selection? Stop making me repeat myself. The waiter, now thoroughly rattled, says, Excuse me, we have 6 types of courses, handpicked by our tea master. This menu should describe the details of each course. Olivia accepts the menu, replying, Very good. Settling into a chair, she thinks, Doesn't hurt to indulge once in a while. Time to drink up on the Duke's tab. She orders, Could I get the fruit tea, flower petal tea please, some pour? She orders various things moment by moment. Finally, savoring her tea, she thinks, Now that's what I call tea, so good. She then calls out, Excuse me. At that moment, footsteps approach. Lord Ian Tyrone appears. He comes to her then. Near her he turns to sit in front of her. She thinks, Are you kidding me? Aloud, she begins, I heard a lot about you, but no one told me you were so ill-mannered, Your Grace. He looks at her straight then smiles. Are you, the Duchess, Lady Parnell? Flashback to 3 days ago. A carriage arrives at the palace. An attendant bows. Greetings, Your Grace. Then he knocks at the door. Your Majesty, the Duke, Lord Tyrone has arrived. As the door creaks opens, the king bursts out. Ian, my beloved cousin! As he grabs Ian in a hug. Ian groans. Ugh, come on, sire. The king insists. The entire world could believe in those rumors. But not me. No way. No way indeed. Ian looks at him in confusion. The king then exclaims, I hear you finally have yourself a lover. Ian, covering his face, mumbles, Oh my goodness. He then firmly states, That is definitely not the case. Did you not arrange the Parnell marriage yourself, Your Majesty? He brushes it off. We can just retract that. Lord Parnell is already at war, and I doubt he'll return just to save his marriage. I doubt anyone would frankly care. Ian simply says, Well, I don't care for it. Just then the king calls, Ian. He looks serious and says, There's not much to marriage. You meet, and you go through thick and thin as you live together. Look at me. The only reason I was linked with the Empress was because of a shared birthday. The former Duke was a little less lucky, but most people live ordinary lives like that. Ian, looking troubled, says, I really don't see the need. I am doing pretty well by myself. The king questions, But you would still bear those heinous rumors? Ian, looking away, wonders, I question her motives. Why did she have to go this far? The king counters, I considered it to be a smart move. How daring is it to throw an imperial arranged marriage out the window? He urges Ian, Why don't you just meet her? Ian protests, I do not want to. The king, slapping him playfully, insists, That's not going to stop her from contacting you. I stick with what I said. I want this to happen. Ian finally relents, thinking, At least I can say no to her in person. Back in the present, again, Olivia states, Your Grace, I request that you marry me. And Ian thinks, Who even is this woman, Your Grace? She says with a sweet smile. I request that you marry me. Lord Tyrone is caught completely off guard. Who even is this woman? The Emperor had mentioned her. Daring this, and it's clear now what he meant. Ian remarks, Rarely am I lost for words. She coolly replies, I'm sure you are. He throws out a curveball. You don't mind if I'm impotent? Without missing a beat, she says, I actually prefer that. Adding, Matters of the bedroom are not my cup of tea, not even my coffee. Ian asks, Is that supposed to be a joke? With a playful smile, she replies, You are out of touch, Your Grace. That was pretty funny. He sighs, so she thinks, I expected him to be angry. I guess he's more patient than I expected. Ian begins to explain himself. I am not a man of many words, not that witty, and basically, I am indifferent to others. He concludes, I can assure you, whatever you expect from me, you will be disappointed. She thinks to herself, smirking. Dear boy, this old girl is far past having fantasies about marriage. She compares him to her late husband. Come to think of it, James was also not a man of many words. The Duke, just now, has spoken more words than what James would say in a week, she replies. I've had my share of living alone. She leans forward. Lord Ian, you have no parents, correct? He replies. Yes, they both passed away. Then suddenly she says, So why don't we get married? He jolted in shock. What? I am making a deeply rational decision in asking for your hand, she says. Not a joke or prank. Let's get married. Ian is taken aback and fell in thoughts. Looking at him, she thinks, no wonder the Emperor is concerned. His one cousin, an impotent man with no thought of marriage. But this may fare better for me. Internally, she concedes. If he had heard the rumors, he is likely to fully support his marriage. But first things first, let's get this Duke in the game. Then she took a breath and says loudly, Are you to tell me that you were simply fooling me all along? She shouts. Upon hearing that, teacups fell across other tables. She continues, If not. Ian quickly covers her mouth. He has soft hands unlike James, she thinks. Why am I comparing him with my darn husband? Ian says. In a matter of minutes you've managed to get me worked up. He leans in close, glancing at her. Okay then, he says with a sigh. Let us continue this in a private room. They move to a private room, where the servant says, Enjoy your time. She holds up a hand. Wait, a smoky Earl Grey, to cleanse the palate. No need for dessert, she says. Ian says, You enjoy your tea. Yes, one of my few indulgences, she replies. Both stares at each other without speaking. Why don't we get married? She repeats, smiling. He's flustered. Can you just stop with that? She thinks. Look at him, not knowing what to do. I recall the older Ian being quite cold. I guess that's the youth talking, she says firmly. I will stop once you accept my request. Why me? Ian asks, bewildered. One scandalous song in the streets, and you jump to this solution? Why such an extreme decision? She replies. I think I have already explained myself. The song in question has put him in a difficult position. My mother-in-laws are after me. So given the situation, I would rather have that song just become fact. Ian responds. That simple of a reason? Simple, she replies with a terrifying expression. You clearly haven't faced the wrath of my mother-in-laws. Ian concedes. Forgive me for that comment. All is forgiven, she replies. He takes her hand, and she says, I like the fact that you have no parents in need of serving. The fact that you are not a man of words. That you would be indifferent to your wife. The fact that you can't get it up, it's all okay. So just marry me. Ian turns his face away embarrassed. She requests, Could you please answer? She grabs his hands. Excuse me. A servant interrupts. Both retreated quickly. The servant presents tea and says the smoky Earl Grey, as requested. Olivia, with not much etiquette, pours the tea and thinks. Ugh, what else can I do? He asks. Do you like smoky Earl Grey? It's not my favorite, but I am fond of it, she replies, pouring the tea. He pours him one and says inwardly, Get a taste of this, you little. He pauses, then says, I accept. The Duchess gets shocked. Ha! She puts down her cup, and he drinks the tea in one gulp. He says again, I accept your proposal. He smiles. I was starting to grow tired of you anyway. He offers his hand. Let's go. She was taken aback and replies, Excuse me? She grasps his hand and stands. Should I head back and await your response? She asks. He looks confused. Await? Back where? He clarifies. Is there any need for you to return to the Parnell estate when you are set on marrying me? He seems to be having a bit of a crisis. Then adds, Let us head back to my estate. Her eyes widen with excitement. At Tyrone estate. Inside, she thinks to herself, Well, that was easier than expected. The maid peeks out from behind the door, whispering. Olivia says in her mind, I don't blame them. Even I didn't expect this to actually work out. She smiles to herself. I thought I was the daring one. It seems I found my match. Well, that's one less thing to worry about, she decides. First thing after the marriage, I remodel this harsh reception chamber. Duke Tyrone enters. I ask for your patience. There wasn't a chamber ready for such a sudden guest. She waves him off. No need to worry. I'll slump down on this sofa, if I have to. She internally rages against her former home. Any couch would be better than the rotting pile of hay back home. That trash hole, and those damn jackasses. Hopefully, I will never see them again. He sees her covering her ears. He sighs and says, I don't know how they treated you at the Parnell estate, but that is not allowed of a duchess of this estate, he declares. She perks up. Then I'll just share quarters with you. No danger from you. He flinches, so she thinks. I guess I'll never be welcome in his bed. As he frowns, she thinks. He can act like an adult all he wants. I can tell what he's thinking. He asks, why is it that my impotence doesn't bother you? She replies, I don't care much for children, and don't want to bear any. In her past life in a snowy night, before she was brought back, she twice bore children. After a life-threatening birth, she couldn't muster any care for her babies. After birth, as she was lying in bed, the nanny told the maids, it was an extremely difficult birth. She will have to stay bedridden for some time. A maid asks, Madam, would you care to hold your child? In exhaustion, she shakes her head. The Duke enters. The nanny says, Your Grace, the child is healthy. But the Duchess. He looks at her, then states, I must leave. Please take care of her. The nanny asks, leaving already? As he left, she says, did he even look at her? Poor madam. She concludes, I never want to go through that again. Even if I never see my children again. Back in the present, she says, I am well aware of the horrendous later years of noble women who do not bear children, but that doesn't stop me from not wanting children. I would rather better prepare myself for those years. Ultimately, I don't care for your impotence. On the contrary, I prefer it, he replies. Is that so? She asks. You accept the matter so easily. Isn't bearing an heir an important matter for you? She smiles slyly. She points at him. I'm not one to preach, but accepting everything like that could hurt you in the future. You should be more cautious with important matters. Then she grins. And why am I scolding him on this? He says. I'm not blindly accepting everything. The matter truly does not concern me. She leans in. Truly? But won't this be the end of your bloodline? He replies. I don't think I need to really explain myself here. She smirks, then sits down and thinks. I guess at the end of it all, he can't get it up. She stares at him. He asks, could you please not stare like that? She shrugged it off. Excuse me, did I do something wrong? He says, you stare at me with a gaze full of utmost pity. She denies it. You are mistaken. Why would I dare pity your grace? He stands there bewildered. She muses. She thinks, sorry I'm messing with you, but your reactions are priceless. Then he steps closer. She notices. Why do I feel him moving closer? He leans in closer. Olivia is caught completely off guard. What is going on? She stammers, clearly flustered by the sudden affection. Ian, with a cool and collected demeanor, gazes down at her. Olivia is momentarily captivated, thinking, damn that face though. He hums thoughtfully, tilting his head. Where in heavens did you come from? He asks, his eyes piercing. Olivia shivers as he grasps her hand. What? She utters softly, still trying to process what's happening. Let me tend to my business now, Ian says smoothly. He then adds with a smirk. There is a mountain of tasks at hand to prepare for our wedding. Olivia can only reply, I guess so. In Olivia's mind, Ian is told, don't lean in on me like that without explaining yourself. Ian just gives a small, oh, before leaving Olivia, who smiles after him. I'll see you later, Olivia, he says before departing. Olivia is left alone, wondering. Huh. She sprawls on the couch. Is he actually impotent? She ponders. All the rumors do say he can't get hard. Can a man with no masculinity have such masculine vibes? Ian's masculine physique comes to her mind. Nope, she concludes. He was unmarried even after 20 years. The rumors are definitely true. Suddenly, the door creaks open. A servant announces, Madam, your room is prepared. Olivia beams, thinking, whoa, the preparations were faster than expected. As she sleeps soundly, James gently shakes her awake. My wife, open your eyes, dear wife, he whispers. Olivia stirs, her eyes fluttering open. She gasps, James. He leans in close, his eyes intense. Olivia's breath hitches. James, she cries, adding, stop. James just stares down at her. Olivia's eyes glow red with fury. She strikes him across the face. James, holding his cheek, she murmurs, I've never heard you speak with such a begging tone. Olivia's eyes blaze. Don't mess with me, she hisses. You're disgusting, she spits out. Olivia jolts awake with a gasp. Arg! She realized that it was a dream. She clutches the sheets. Just a dream, she sighs in relief. One bad dream, that's all. The next morning, Olivia is informed of their next destination. What? She asks in disbelief. Visit the Imperial Palace? Ian confirms. Yes, His Majesty awaits us. Olivia thinks to herself, looking at Ian. He sure is a looker. As Ian was about to sit, he calls out, "Enter." Olivia gets confused as two maids rush in with food. "Yes, Your Grace," they say. Olivia is surprised. "Enjoy," she is told. Olivia is still confused. "I thought we were visiting the palace," she asks. Ian replies, "We're to be married. A proper breakfast is first in order." "I really don't think," she starts to say. "I mean, His Imperial Majesty has called upon us. It's okay, dig in," Ian replies, unconcerned. Olivia wonders, is he sure it's okay? As far as she can recall, the Emperor was a frightening man. When I had made my mark as a duchess, the throne had been passed to the Crown Princess Startes. The Emperor had abdicated early. Countless fools were foolish enough to disrespect Empress Startes for being a woman on the imperial throne, in response to which, the former emperor executed countless unspeakable deeds, including a bloody purge of the fools. Romeo used to complain about the harsh treatment he received from the former emperor. "Ollie, I'm practically suffocated by my in-laws," Romeo cries. Olivia replies, "Suffocated by in-laws?" he says. "I'm sorry." Olivia thinks to herself, "I'm still glad Romeo was there, and is still by my side through all of this. The fact that I can take this peaceful breakfast feast, it's all thanks to Romeo listening to my favor. Our friendship was an easy target of scandal for the blabbering mouths of the Empire. But thanks to the imperial decree of Empress Startes, we were permitted this friendship through all the rumors and nonsense." In her mind she says, "Respect to Empress Startes too. Being a duchess alone is hard work. How does she live as a monarch?" As she was busy thinking, Ian observes her while he drinks his water. At breakfast, Ian's grilling Olivia about her plans if she had refused his proposal. "What were your plans if I had declined your offer?" Olivia is taken aback. "Excuse me?" Ian continues. "What if you started those wild rumors, but the marriage did not go through as planned?" Olivia, arms crossed, retorts, "Then my mother-in-laws would have kicked me out in due time." Ian stares intently. "You would return to the Florence estate, as all debts are paid off?" Olivia's eyes widen. She recalls a scene. At night, lantern in hand, Olivia walks through the dark hallways. She overhears a conversation. "Lord Florence, am I correct to understand that the Parnell estate paid off all your debts?" "Viscount Lord Florence," Olivia's father replies. "Yes. I consider it a proper offering for marrying off my children." Olivia with the lantern grips it tightly, her knuckles white. Her father continues, "I am doing well in the business of selling off my daughters. Never knew the two girls would do me any good." "What a relief," he laughs. "You should have seen the look on the madam's face. Priceless." Olivia, still outside the door, is visibly shaken. Back at breakfast, she replies, "No way. Knife to my throat. I would never set foot in that household again. I can assure you that you don't want anything to do with the human cesspool. That is the Florence estate." Ian sighs. "The more I speak with you, the more you confuse me. You have obviously led an unhappy life." Olivia cuts him off. "Are you going to finish that sentence?" Ian waves it off. "Never mind. Dig in. We have business to attend to after breakfast." Olivia is surprised. "Business?" Romana, the head housekeeper, greets them. "Greetings, madam. I am Romana, the head housekeeper and manager of all general affairs of the household." Olivia thinks, "The people here are already set on calling me madam?" She smiles. "Greetings, Romana." Romana informs her, "The tailor awaits, madam. Please follow me." Olivia asks, confused. "A tailor?" Ian explains, "You are to make the acquaintance of His Majesty, and all your clothes are back at the Parnell estate." Olivia is flustered. "His Majesty has already waited too long. Shouldn't we be rushing over?" Ian, unconcerned, replies, "He's probably excited beyond measure. A little tardiness never killed anybody." Olivia's inner thoughts are interrupted, imagining the Emperor saying, "You dare make me wait." Olivia rolls her eyes. "Blah, whatever. So stubborn." She gives in. "Sure, show me the way," Romana replies. "Of course." As they walk, Ian follows them. Olivia wonders, does he plan on watching me get fitted? Romana opens the door to the tailor's room. "This way, madam." Olivia is awestruck by the beautiful dresses. The tailor greets her. "Greetings, madam." Olivia corrects him. "You may call me Lady Florence." The tailor bows his head. "Greetings, Lady Florence. The dress selections are to your left," she suggests. "How about something with a shade of wine? Salmon pink works too," the tailor asks. "Do you plan to have it match your eyes?" The tailor turns to Ian. "His Grace will be wearing." Olivia interrupts. We're not even married yet. No need to have matching tones. The tailor is flustered. Ian says simply, As you wish. Olivia smiles. You heard him. Olivia is pleased while Ian observes her. A few hours later, they're rushing to the imperial palace as the emperor called them again. Olivia thinks, I told him we should have hurried. He ended up making the emperor send an official letter. Ian notices the tension on her face and asks, Has the Parnell estate run into hard times? Olivia asks. Why are my garments not to your standards? Ian replies. Yes. Olivia thinks, This is still the best outfit I had. She smiles. You can always show me better things after we are wed. You better prove to me that I made the right choice in asking you. Ian remains silent. He thinks, Surely, a weird lady indeed. They arrive at the imperial palace. Ian and Olivia are greeted by the emperor. Dear cousin-in-law. The emperor hugs Ian tightly, who seems uncomfortable. Olivia curtsies. A pleasure to make your acquaintance, your majesty. The emperor helps her up. No need for a courtesy. Please get up. He then nods, pointing towards his aide. The servant obliges. The emperor says, Before we begin, let's have your signature. He presents her with a document. Olivia is shocked. It's a certificate of marriage. It lists Olivia Florence and Ian Tyrone as the parties. Olivia and Ian are about to be married, but the emperor is moving a little too fast. This is... Olivia looks down at the marriage certificate, shocked. How can the imperial seal be on the certificate, even before either party's signature? She thinks to herself that the emperor is really eager to make this happen. She turns to the emperor. I have but one inquiry, your majesty. He impatiently responds. What is it? Speak, she explains. I am afraid of the aftermath of such a sudden annulment of my existing marriage. May I suggest we sign after matters with the Parnell estate are sorted out? The emperor bursts into laughter. Muhahaha. He waves his hand dismissively. His aide presents Olivia with another document. The emperor adds, What aftermath? The Parnell household preemptively sent over the annulment documents. Olivia is clearly surprised. Excuse me? They already sent the annulment document? She looks down at the paper, labeled proof of annulment. They sent it this fast, she thinks. The emperor explains. The Parnell estate had sent a courier. Just in case they would change their mind, I was swift to accept. He holds up the document. And this copy will also be sent to the Duke, Lord Parnell, currently away at the war campaign. Olivia snickers in disbelief. Ha, she thinks. Those jackasses will never change. I'm glad there's no second thoughts. She tells the emperor. Then I accept, your majesty. She picks up a quill. I will sign. She puts pen to paper and signs the document. Emperor advisor brings the document to Ian. Your Grace. As he takes a look at it, Olivia wonders to herself. I already signed. Is he having second thoughts? She leans in to look. She nudges him. Ian, this is when you sign. Ian then turns to the emperor, your majesty. Ian snaps. Did you even hear me? The emperor teases him. Yes, darling cousin, the love of my life. The emperor is far too eager. Ian points out. I don't suppose you would officialize this marriage with a mere sheet of paper? Olivia thinks. What is he up to? The emperor continues. What? Oh, of course, there will be a grand wedding. This is just in case you two change your minds. To lock. He catches himself. Lock local administrative procedures, of course. Olivia says inwardly. He was going to say lock it down. Ian thinks to himself. He turns to the emperor. If that is the case, I request the Diamond Hall. Olivia gets shocked. Your Grace. Of all the many ballrooms of the imperial palace, the Diamond Hall was known to be the most extravagant, and open only for imperial festivities. This was where Romeo's wedding to Empress Startes was held. Olivia wonders. He wants such a location open for my wedding? The emperor shakes excitedly. I surely believed in you, dear cousin. No way you are impotent. With such a fantastic item in store. Olivia is confused. Fantastic item. The emperor clears his throat. Ahem. He continues. I'll have it held there, even next week if necessary. I'll ask the Empress for a favor. Make sure you get all the help you need. Ian and Olivia. Thank you, your majesty. As they walked together, she recalled the emperor telling her. I leave him in your hands, Lady Florence. She stares at him, so he asks. Do you have something to tell me? She questions. Your cousin surely had a burden on his mind, Ian says. Burden? Because of me? She nods, so he responds. His concerns are his, and his alone. Especially when he has nothing better to do these days. She points. I think he was a little more excited than having nothing better. Ian says. So with that done, I think it's time we sort out what we call each other. She asks. Call? Why don't we just do what we've done so far? Ian raises his hand to her cheek and says, Dear wife. Ian whispers, Dear wife. Olivia's face flushes. She remembers James calling her the same thing. A memory of her previous marriage? She clutches her chest. No, not that, Olivia insists, but Ian is already thinking. He leans in, murmuring, Then, Olivia, he whispers into her ear. Ard, can you please not whisper in my ear like that? She demands. She shuffles back. He chuckles. If that is my dear wife's request. She frowns. I said don't call me that. I really don't like that. He muses. I was correct. Olivia's bewildered. About what? He says. Nothing. She wonders. Seriously. He turns away. It's getting late. Shall we head home? He offers his hand. Olivia sighs in relief. Phew. They walk back to the palace. Later a letter arrives from the imperial palace. A decree to hold the wedding in 2 weeks' time. Olivia's shocked. That soon. With a tight schedule, everyone's in a rush. Ramana takes over. With all the knowledge of the estate, took preparation into her own hands. I really feel like I'm doing nothing, Olivia thinks to herself. Later she peeks in Ian's office. As he was busy in piles of work she offers, Give me that. I'll approve things myself. Olivia approaches, hands on her hips. Ian asks, You will? She says, I can handle it. I handle matters at the Parnell estate. He begin. But, she cut in. I'm telling you, I can handle it. The Empress is handling the large matters anyway. All because a certain somebody requested the Imperial Palace Diamond Hall. He thinks for a moment, then relents. Then I will leave it in your hands. Then he orders, Ramana, be sure to assist the Duchess. Ramana replies, Yes, Your Grace. Olivia waves goodbye. Then I'll see you around. As she was about to leave, Ian calls, Olivia. Olivia halts. Ugh, she cringes, but responds smiling. Yes. Inwardly she thinks, he's really getting on my nerves with the first name basis thing. Please excuse me, he says, walking towards her. Ian reaches out and pulls a strand of hair from her face. Olivia is flustered. Your hair was in your face, he says with a smile. She gets dazed for a moment, then says, You could have just told me, he says. You wouldn't be able to see your own face properly. He always has to have the last word. She thinks, annoyed. Thank you so much. I take my leave, for I am busy, she says sarcastically. Olivia stomps away, slamming the door behind her. Ian laughs, clearly enjoying himself. Ha! Olivia and Ramana walk away. Later that night, Olivia sits at her desk. She instructs, Contact the Parnell estate, and ask them to send over my belongings before the ceremony. Ramana asks, Madam? Surely, they would not take such a request so lightly. Olivia responds, That is why I am contacting them. I'm pretty sure my old wedding dress and jewelry are just a burden to them. Tell them we will pay. No need to pay more, just the right value for the goods provided. Ramana examines the document. Do you mean, you plan to wear the same dress from your previous wedding, madam? Ramana seems shocked. Olivia replies, We're in a rush. A new dress would be both a waste of time and resources. A little fixing up would make it look completely new. Ramana spoke. But ma'am, wouldn't it mean bad luck? Olivia smiles, thinking the marriage that began with that wedding dress was a devastating wreck. She muses, If I had chosen to hold on tight and keep the marriage going, would I have found happiness? She quickly dismisses the thought. No, I highly doubt that. That is all just superstition, the maid insists. But Olivia's having none of it. A dress is but an object, and objects do not define one's life. I am happy with saving money and time, the maid simply replies. Understood. A few days later, a letter arrives from the Parnell estate, accompanied by Olivia's possessions. The letter reads, We have no wish to barter, and accept what you have offered. We have rid the house of most of your random trinkets, so not much is left. Olivia smirks. There was only one reason she forced herself to send that letter to the Parnell estate. She looks at a necklace and whispers, Mother, she remembers. There weren't much treasures to bring from my humble home, but this necklace was the one thing I managed to grab. The last thing I have left from my late mother. Olivia clutches it close. Thank God I asked to pay. If I had just asked for it, they would have thrown it away, she concludes. And this marks my final farewell to the Parnell household. Her maid looks on, concerned. Later that night, as she sleeps soundly, Ian watches her. Each day, she baffles me. He ponders how she can be so daring, wearing worn-down clothes but exuding a strong, confident attitude, polite yet fierce, knowing not to cross the line. Acting like an experienced socialite, yet research reveals a different story. He remembers Ramana telling him, Olivia, it turns out, was quiet and polite, not standing out among her peers at the academy. She had a close-knit group of friends, including Romeo Alkesis, a count's son. She majored in accounting and had no opportunity to learn the ways of high society. As you mentioned, she seems to have been completely neglected at the Parnell estate. Ian thinks about her, timid, calm, and not a single touch of high society. He wonders, if that is the case, who on earth is this woman in front of me? His eyes fall on the necklace she's wearing. Is that the necklace she mentioned? He remembers Ramana telling her. It is the only trinket she took from what they had sent over. It seemed to be something meaningful to her, he remarks, a smart move hiding her true motive under the guise of a wedding dress purchase, while her choice also made reasonable sense, given the circumstances. Ian reaches out to her, gently caressing her hand. Dear wife, Olivia frowns in her sleep as he asks, someone must have called you that before. Did he give you that necklace? He grabs the necklace, his gaze intense. The days aren't passing quickly enough. 1 week later, Olivia is getting ready for another wedding. 2 weddings in a lifetime. To her, weddings were a bitter affair. Will this one be any different? She shivers. Ian sneaks into the room. Olivia, she gasps, startled. She turns and says, oh, come on. Can you knock? You gave me a... She stops in the middle as she looks at him. He was quite a looker. He asks, are you feeling okay? You don't look so. He touches her forehead, concern etched on his face. Olivia blushes, flustered. Why am I choking up? Are you feeling okay? He asks, concerned. Olivia's eyes are red-rimmed, and she's trying so hard not to cry. Don't cry, she tells herself. There's nothing to cry about. She grasps at her dress, trying to calm herself. She says, it's nothing, just a little wedding jitters. You get those for your second one too? He jokes. Arg. Olivia's reaction is instant. You really consider yourself a comedian, huh? He just laughs it off. Are you still getting the jitters? He asks softly. A little bit better now, she admits, her eyes downcast. Then, he holds out his hand. Here, take this. It's a ring. What is? Olivia begins, confused. Your wedding ring. As you may be, he starts, but then stops himself. It's nonsense to reuse your old ring, she replies. True, the other half also happens to be in a war zone. Ian's face falls. That's not what I meant, he quickly corrects. Then what were you going for? She asks, skeptical. He sighs, and she thinks. Stop sighing and blurt it out, young man. He grabs her hand, slipping the ring onto her finger. It's such a perfect fit, Olivia says, surprised. Of course, I got your size, he says smugly. For my finger? When? She demands, shocked. That's a secret, he replies, grinning. Seriously, she thinks, annoyed. Well, this ring. Olivia trails off, examining the jewelry. I've never seen such a design, Your Grace. A servant interrupts. The guests are in need of your welcoming. Ah, he responds. Olivia stares at the ring, lost in thought. He grins, knowing he's got her attention. He grabs her hand and whispers, I'll see you in a minute, Olivia. Close up, her eyes widen. She thinks, cringing. She thinks, he's really having his fun with me. All this teasing, with such a straight face. I expected him to be as blunt as James, but I was surely mistaken. Olivia smiles softly. I want you to be happy, Olivia, her mother had said. Mother, she thinks sadly. If she had known I had to get married twice, it would have broken her heart. Just then a servant says, Madam, it is time, she says inwardly. But Mom, it's okay. I'm making it through it all. I will not let this new opportunity go in vain, she thinks, steeling herself. I want to be happy. As she enters the hall, announcer says, Here comes the bride. The wedding ceremony begins. The priest intones, As the roots of this joyous matrimony settle, and the blessings of His Majesty, a true blessing for the joyful harmony of the bride and groom, and let their lives, and he continues. The crowd watches, smiling. Damn, the flowers, they must have cost a fortune alone, Olivia thinks. In my past life, I would have fainted from shock. She glances at her groom. At least in this life, I am not the only one attending the ceremony. I also made sure not to invite my father. Flashback to her sleazy father. Her father asks, Could you spot me a little for your sister's wedding? A useless bum of a father, she thinks, disgusted. Her father adds about her sister. Thankfully, there was a household willing to take her away at 50,000 dirks, nice and full. She concludes, in this life, I'll make it a point to leave him out of my life. He really made everything in my life worse. She thinks, recalling her past. Given the time, I'll also bring over my little sister. What's on your mind? Ian asks, noticing her pensive expression. You know, just taking all the wedding in. She lies. Liar, are you sure it wasn't the thought of another man? He teases. She replies, smiling nervously. No way. Then they straightened. Ian grins and says, not that many people can think of anyone else with me in the room, she says inwardly. So full of it. But he isn't wrong, he says. If this happens to be a rebound, because you couldn't get with another lover, please speak now. Sorry? Olivia asks, startled. She began. Wait, but the priest interrupts. Bride and groom, the vows of faithfulness. She gets confused. Vows of faithfulness? I don't remember this. Ian leans in close. Olivia flicks her eyes to meet his. She says in her mind. Stop grinning, young man. Ian leans in and whispers to her. I happen to be very adamant about keeping my woman to myself. He leans further and kisses her. After the vows, the noble lady remarks, the Diamond Hall truly lives up to its name, one guest observes. Another agrees, remarking, indeed, the Duke's presence also did the hall its justice. His Grace married, one attendee laments. I expected him to stay single and be an eternal target of affection for all of us. The other lady asks, is that a tear, Josh? But the real tears were in the king's eyes. He sobs, my dear little cousin, finally. The wedding was a grand success, but Viscount Florence, father to the bride, was excluded. Let me go this instant, he yells as he's restrained. And there were a few other minor issues, including no one from the Parnell estate being present. The headlines scream, the Duke is hitched. Who is the bride? Lady Parnell crunches the newspaper in her fist. Later the maids were whispering to each other. The Duke and Duchess haven't shown their faces yet. They must have returned to the estate. The other asks, so they will be consummating their marriage? But isn't the Duke supposed to be impotent? One maid wonders. The other says, but that kiss, that was a lot of passion. A bit too much passion for someone who can't get it up. They wonders, so all the rumors were a lie? Why didn't he denounce any of them? Whether the infamous, impotent Duke could consummate his marriage on his wedding night was a hot topic throughout the empire. Olivia Florence, now Olivia Tyrone, was soon to be the first person to confirm what everyone was curious about. Olivia sighs in relief. Finally done. Ian grabs her hand. Shall we head back? Olivia wonders. Are we not expected to meet the guests? She remembers, even without James there, her last wedding was a busy flurry of lone greetings. People will surely talk if we blow them off. It's already my second marriage. I'm sure His People-Friendly Majesty will handle that for us, Ian says. Olivia is surprised. You're really not afraid to cross the line with His Majesty? She questions. The Emperor handles things for you? Suddenly Ian halts and says, that's rich coming from someone who opened with I like that you have no parents left to serve. Olivia's past mistakes flash before her. I don't know what you are talking about, she says. Phew. Olivia apologizes. I'm sorry. That was inappropriate of me, Ian replies. No need to apologize. On the contrary, I'm actually glad they are no longer with us. Olivia is shocked. Excuse me? Before she can react, Ian sweeps away. What? He's already over there. Just then she notices and says, Ian, you're heading in the wrong direction. The carriages are this way, no? He replies. I know. We are staying a night in the palace. What? Olivia says, completely flustered. In the palace? Ian explains. His Majesty has given us a room. He's also the one who directed us to leave in the first place, Olivia says. Wow, His Majesty does sure hold you dear to his heart, Ian replies. Well, I'm sure he has his own motives, she wonders. Other motives? What else does he get out of this? Is he expressing his trust in me to take care of Ian? Indirectly telling me not to dump his beloved cousin like I did James? Olivia sighs. Then Ian says, we are going to take all afternoon at this rate. Excuse me. He lifts her up and carries her. She exclaims, whoa, she says flustered. We can take our time, you know. It's not like we are in a rush to do anything. Upon hearing that, Ian's face went blank. She notices. He has nice strong shoulders, she wonders. Did James have strong shoulders? She fell asleep in his arms. Later Olivia is getting ready for bed. So tired. She yawns. Now that I'm loosening up, all the drowsiness is kicking in. The maid says. Madam, come this way. Olivia replies. Yes, yes. As she follows her, she thinks, I just want to lie down. At the chambers, the maid says. His Grace will be joining you shortly. She replies, okay. While leaving, the maid congratulates her. Oh, madam, congratulations on your wedding. Olivia replies. Yup, phew. Olivia climbs into bed. Now that's more like it. She rubs her face against the covers. Wait, I'm feeling the bed covers a little bit too well. She lifts the covers and sits up. She dazed seeing her dress. She wakes up in a revealing nightgown, and she's absolutely mortified. Wait, what am I wearing? She remembers the maids fussing over her earlier. Was this why they were taking so much care in dressing me? This sleeping garment is way too revealing. She dives under the covers, determined to hide. I'll just stay like this. I mean, we're just sleeping here. No need for him to look under the covers. But of course, that's when footsteps approach the room. Click goes the door, and in walks Ian, looking absolutely divine in a matching robe. Olivia thinks, my God! They dressed him up for the occasion. Under the covers, Olivia internally screams, ignore it, ignore it, ignore it. Time to sleep. But just then, Ian calls her name. Olivia. Startled, she peeks out, only to be met with Ian's face inches from hers. Kaiawea! Olivia recoils, mind racing. I see his chest. I see his chest. I can see his friggin' chest. She tries to bury herself again. Nope, nope, nope. Ian, clearly confused, pulls back the covers a bit. Why are you wrapped up like that? You're falling asleep? Olivia, flustered, retorts. Yes, I'm tired, so I need to sleep. You had a hard day too. Good night. Ian, still looking concerned, replies. Good night? He leans closer again, and Olivia internally shrieks. Eek. Calm down, heart. He's the impotent Duke. No worries. Then Ian says. Open your eyes. We have unfinished business to handle before we sleep. Flustered Olivia asks. At finish? Besides talking to the guests? He asks. Do you remember what you told me when I called you Lady Parnell? Olivia remembers her words. According to imperial law, any marriage not consummated on its first night is rendered void, she realizes. So the unfinished business is. Ian leans closer. His voice is low and dangerous. What if you tell another man what you told me, and leave me for them, just like with me? He cups her face, and she looks at him, wide-eyed. Then he kisses her. A soft, lingering kiss. Ian pulls back slightly, a smirk playing on his lips. So I'd better make sure our marriage is not rendered void. Olivia is completely thrown. But you're supposed to be impotent. She actually shouts it out loud. Ian responds with a grin. Oh, have I ever said that with my own lips? She recalls. 2 years ago at the ball. You said you didn't get hard. He clarifies. Yes, in that situation, and not for that lady. He continues. I would be no better than a dog if I would get hard for any passing flizzy. Olivia thinks. Then why did he ask me if it was okay for him to be impotent in the first place? Olivia fumes. This is a scam. But Ian is already moving to get closer to her. Let's first remove these covers. Olivia resists, clutching the blanket to her chest. No way! He reaches for her, but Olivia pushes him away. Then she says, I don't want any children. I am afraid to have children. Ian looks at her with concern, gently pulling her into an embrace. It's okay, Olivia. He strokes her hair. There's no need to worry about that. I never wanted any children either. That is also why I did not bother explaining myself. When the impotent Duke title stuck, he leans in, and Olivia looks up at him, her expression softening. He kisses her again and again. He lifts her up, and Olivia cries out. And no! Why is he, suddenly? She fidgets, unsure of what to do. Just then she notices Olivia is understandably flustered. She dodges Ian. He remarks, I never knew you were so agile. Olivia is not impressed. Is that all you noticed? What is that thing on you? She exclaims. Ian smirks. I mean, it came complete with the package. Olivia tries to escape, muttering. Nevertheless, this is not what I signed up for, so good and dash. But wobble. She stumbles, and Ian grabs her. Have I ever told you that you really seem to keep me busy? He says, pulling her close. No need to be tense, he whispers, his eyes intense. Olivia blushes, confused. Huh. Ian smiles reassuringly. I already told you, you have nothing to worry about. And then the kiss. And then the deed. The next day at the palace, Olivia wakes up with an exhausted look, throwing the covers off. Ian stands in the room. "Liar!" she shouts accusingly. "You stupid idiot liar!" She continues, clearly annoyed. She mutters to herself about her back killing her. She asks, "How did you manage to keep it a secret?" He replies, "I told you, I just happen to not be a hound that jumps at the sight of every woman. Come to think of it, you were rather rude to me, but I was still willing to forgive that." He asks, "Why did you think that was so?" Olivia remembers. Looking back, it was a little strange. A man who had decidedly lived 2 decades without marriage, so quick to accept my proposal. Olivia reflects. Like he said, it's not like I talked to him in the politest of ways. That means, he did it for one reason. She asks Ian if he had feelings for her. Ian replies, "Bingo." Olivia asks, "For me? Why?" "That was the first time we met," Ian says. "To be honest, it was your looks that did it for me at first," he adds. "Especially your eyes." Ian continues, "Then you spoke of your conditions, and I like them. Not wanting any children, on the ball with everything, daring but not greedy," he says. "I felt you would have a knack for managing the household and the estate." Olivia exclaims, "What if I were to take everything you own, the estate and everything? First impressions can lead to dire consequences." He adds, "I also liked how you treated me like a naive little boy, just like this, even when I am older than you." Olivia smirks, thinking, "I mean, sure, in this life," he continues. "And finally, I made up my mind when you ordered the smoky Earl Grey. That happens to be my favorite type of tea." Ian asks Olivia, "See? Do you believe me now?" Olivia responds. Ian leans in. "And if you still have doubts, you can test Dash." Olivia interrupts. Wait. It's the middle of the day. Right now, I am hungry. Let us get a meal first." Ian responds. "Too bad. I guess a good husband makes sure his wife always gets a good meal." He rings for the staff. "I'll be back in 10 minutes. Ian tells Olivia. "Let us go eat." As the maids arrive, Olivia thinks, "At least he's not jumping on me like a hound." A maid asks, "Madam, may we help with your preparation?" "Why, yes," Olivia exclaims. The maids begin to prepare her. They blush, seeing something on her. One of them says, "Pardon me, madam, the dress we have prepared is this." They present a dress. "But I doubt that it would be right for your complexion." The maids nod in agreement. Olivia looks in the mirror and screams, "Ack, hell no! Hickeys everywhere?" The maids covers Olivia, completely hiding all the hickeys. As she follows Ian, she can only think, "Phew, he wanted to do it in the morning, after making this mess." As the maids congratulate her, she's internally mortified, thinking, "So damn embarrassing. I'll never let him have his way again." Suddenly, the door bursts open, and who else but the Emperor comes barreling in, yelling, "Cousin-in-law!" Olivia's mortified, but Ian seems unfazed. The Emperor is just too excited, declaring, "I am so glad that you are here. Did you sleep well?" Olivia responds smoothly, "All thanks to you, your majesty." Olivia's internally screams, "And why did he not tell me his majesty would be joining?" The Duke, completely in the zone, glances at her and gives her a little kiss. "What are you? Have some manners!" Olivia exclaims, blushing furiously as she pushes him away. He smirks. "But your eyes said kiss me, you fool." To which Olivia retorts, "No, they didn't." The Emperor, oblivious as ever, claps his hands together. "You two are made for each other. I'm more than pleased. So energized I could skip breakfast." Ian notices the table and says, "So, you obviously had breakfast already." The Emperor replies, "Sorry, I just couldn't wait for you to show up." Olivia apologizes for their tardiness, claiming to feel under the weather. But the Emperor waves it off, saying, "You don't need to apologize, we are family. I would never blame you for anything. I am already in debt for accepting my mongrel of a cousin." He tells, "Last night I dreamt that you would leave him because he couldn't get things working." Back in the present, the Emperor continues to gush. "The nightmare had me down here since dawn, had me waiting just in case. So no need to apologize. You can take all the time you want in your chambers. I wouldn't blame you if you were busy till the sun falls." The Duke groans, "Your Majesty, I'd rather you not say such things." But the Emperor teases, "Oh, sorry, was I talking to you?" "Oh, yeah? That's right, I was talking to her." Olivia thinks, "So this is what the Emperor is really like. There goes my respect for the imperial throne." The Duke's eye twitches as the Emperor continues. Olivia glances and notices that. She thinks, looks like things would have gone down if it wasn't the Emperor. Ian trembles in annoyance. Then the Emperor asks, How much longer do you plan on staying? I can have the secondary palace quarters set aside for a week, Ian speaks up. We plan to return home today, Olivia thinks. Yes, please, the Emperor suggests. Why such a hurry? Stay longer, the Duke proposes. Then why don't you send us on a honeymoon? The Emperor, caught off guard, stammers. Ehem. As enamored as you may be with the Duchess, participation at tomorrow's Grand Council is mandatory, Duke. He makes a quick escape, saying, Oh, look at the time. I must take my leave now. Have fun you too. The Emperor literally runs away. I will see you again. Olivia, completely done with his antics. Ian says I can't stand his theatrics. But as he starts to say something, she cuts him off. Eek, she squeaks. Be quiet. That is an insult to the throne. She scolds, covering his mouth. And then, he licks her hand. Olivia is completely flustered. What the heck? Did you just lick me? She shouts, smacking his arm. He just laughs, staring at her with annoying leer. Olivia flinches, thinking. Ian says, It looks like the food would have gone cold, he suggests. Why don't we ask for breakfast in bed? Olivia nods, but thinks. I mean, it's just going to be breakfast, right? The Duke smirks. Here we go. He scoops her up in his arms and kisses her. My Olivia. Later Olivia wakes up with a gasp and sighs. Not this again. Olivia's had enough. You're an animal. The people need to know that. I was conned into this marriage. A while ago, she asks as Ian kisses her. Aren't we having breakfast? He replies. Yes, we will, but we still have some time until it's prepared. He plops her back down on the bed. Ian smirks. So I'll have you first, she says in her mind. I can't believe I trusted this fool. Conned into marriage, you say? Ian muses. Just to be clear, you approached me. Olivia's stunned. Does he know something? Romeo can't get in trouble because of this. The reason I even made it this far is because of my favor, the song. As she fell in thought, Ian observes that. Ian's all smiles and says, Should we head home? Or should we stay a few more days as His Majesty asked? Olivia doesn't hesitate. Let's head home. Olivia thinks, I guess we keep getting pulled into the mood because this is the honeymoon suite. I need to escape to the estate. Ian says it is a shame though. Maybe staying longer isn't a bad idea? Ian's already tracing circles on her back, making her shiver. Eek. Ian smirks. You hound! Olivia is grabbing his collar. Wait a moment. She dramatically opens a drawer. Tada! Let's set up an agreement. Ian is surprised. An agreement? When did she? He says, state your terms. Olivia presents her terms. First, we always practice contraception. He agrees. Of course, next, she says. Second, while married, we stay true to each other. Ian picks up Olivia's necklace. That was something I wanted to request. Okay, continue, Ian says. Finally, the most important clause. How many times we perform coitus. She holds up a finger. I propose we limit it to once a week. Ian is not having it. You're joking? She replies. Not even the slightest. She says, I'm still not sure if. I'm completely okay with the act of doing it. I am not saying you are doing anything wrong. And I am not saying it was painful or uncomfortable. It's just. Her hands fidget. Still, Olivia declares, trying to sound confident. I'll fulfill the rightful duties of a wife, so don't worry. She adds, I will never reject you. It's just the frequency Ian pulls her close. If it were just the act, without any care for you, it would be something meaningless forced on you. I have no plans to torture you. Ian holds her, saying, I just want to bring joy and happiness to your life. Olivia felt touched. He adds, I for once will never have you trembling in fear by forcing duties and roles on you. She recalls her last night and blushes. He says, I will wait until the day you feel no more hurt. Do not worry, Olivia. We can take some time to discuss the third clause. Olivia replies, Sure. That was your motive all along. Ian grins. He sits beside her. Who did this to you? Gave you all this fear? Is it your father? Or, he leans closer, his eyes intense. A lover? Olivia's immediate. No. I've never had a lover. Then I'm glad. Ian confesses. I happen to be the very jealous type. He leans in close, their faces inches apart. A few years ago, James Parnell steps briskly along the academy grounds, wiping his brow. As he was walking, someone calls out from behind. Excuse me. He halts and turns to see a girl with silver hair, looking lost. Pardon me, but how do I get to the academy entrance ceremony? She asks. James points helpfully. You're probably over there, the silver-haired girl, Olivia Florence, says. Thank you so much. James, now alone, sniffs his uniform. I must have stank of sweat. Who on earth was that girl? He thinks. Not really a people person. I went out of my way to find out what her name was. After 2 weeks of asking everyone, I finally managed to get a name. Olivia Florence, accounting major. Back to present Duke Parnell lying shirtless in bed, a bandage wrapped around his chest. Olivia, he murmurs. He flinches as his wound is tended to. Arg, his attendant enters asking. Are you awake, Your Grace? You must not move, the Duke asks. How long was I out? The attendant replies. About a week, Your Grace. We have rounded up the spies, but we almost lost you this time. He drifts back into a memory of the battle. Your Grace, behind you. Someone shouts as a sword swings towards him. Back in the present, his attendant continues. We never imagined there would be so many spies among us. Thanks to your swift discovery, we managed to keep damage to a minimum. At least that is some good news. The border region, where conflict with the invading people is underway. A troublesome region of war, plagued by constant skirmishes for decades. He was hurt during efforts to capture internal spies. Spies that were leaking information to the enemy at this time of conflict. Back in his bed, the Duke is lost in thought. Dreaming of old times. I wonder if Olivia is okay? He reaches for something, noticing something is missing. He asks, Where is my ring? His attendant replies, Oh, the ring. The attendant says, Anyone in the nearby war zone was aware of this infamous ring. As rings burdened the wielding hand, swordsmen would rarely wear them. However, the Duke, Lord Parnell, would never take off his wedding ring, even though he had never seen his wife's face. The attendant muses. An act of loyalty, I suppose. Sounds like something His Grace would do. He then states, The inside had worn down, and the ring was broken. Probably due to you wielding a sword with it on, Your Grace. They are mending it as we speak. I see, the Duke replies, but he's distracted by a rather odd feeling. He fidgets with his fingers. Is it the pain of the injury? He wonders. The attendant interrupts his thoughts. There was also a message for you. He hands over a letter. The Duke asks, From the Duchess? The attendant replies, No, Your Grace. This comes from your mother, Lady Parnell. And another message came from the Imperial Palace. The Imperial Palace, he wonders. He tears open the letter. As he reads it, he groans. Arg, damn it. His attendant glances over, startled. What is wrong, Your Grace? It was a certificate of annulment. The Duke stares at the certificate of annulment. An annulment? Why? The attendant stammers. Your Grace. The Duke demands. Do you know anything about this? The attendant responds. I considered it to be a silly rumor, and did not pass it on to you, Your Grace. A rumor? The Duke asks. The attendant nervously says. Lady Florence, your wife, is said to be in an affair with the Duke, Lord Tyrone, and the Duke is not happy. The attendant adds, and His Majesty the Emperor, hearing of this, has eagerly attempted to bring them together. James thinks the Duke Ian Tyrone? The impotent Duke? How could he even get married? Someone isn't adding up. He is pissed, realizing he never gave his seal for the annulment in the first place. While shaking, he picks up his mother's letter. That reads, The Flissy Olivia was tainting the honor of our household, and we personally kicked her out. We also plan to retrieve the massive investment bestowed upon the Florence. No need to worry about Olivia anymore. Focus on protecting the outer region. James rips the letter apart and groans in pain. He gasps, wondering what is going on. Olivia and Ian are back at his estate, holding hands, with servants greeting them. Welcome back, madam. Olivia is thinking about how many servants there are, taking her back. She's determined it's time to forget the past. A new beginning, a new house, new people, a new life. Ian calls out, Olivia, and offers her some rest or tea in the gardens, but Olivia is having none of it. I would like some shut-eye. Ian says, Oh, I wonder if my room has been cleaned. Olivia stops him there. He says, Come on, it's okay. We're back home. But Olivia isn't convinced. It's not okay. She reminds him of their agreement, and our agreement dictates. Ian is getting close to her face. We never finalized the frequency clause. Olivia freaks. Eek. Don't even joke about that. And keep your distance. She demands a 2-meter radius at all times. Ian cheerfully agrees, calling out, See you at dinner, Olivia. Olivia slams the door. As she enters, Ramana asks if she's okay, and Olivia insists she's fine, but inside, she's spiraling. Foolish of me to believe that he was actually impotent. And if he keeps doing this, she covers her face, steaming. Arg, I don't know. Then, the maid presents her with a message. Madam, there is a message in need of your confirmation, she asks. A message? It's from Florence. Olivia reads the dreaded letter. The investments endowed upon our estate for your marriage to Lord Parnell have been recollected. Your actions will leave us starving. Solve it. Olivia snickers. My father, the Viscount, Lord Florence, not to speak ill of him, but he was one pile of human excrement. He had no business sense, his vanity ventures failed, and left the household in debt. He sold her off to cover those debts, and her sister, Annie, to a drug addict. But Olivia's back, and she can save her sister. Burning the letter from her father, Olivia starts writing her own. Dear father, let us set the facts straight. The debts were of your own doing, and I couldn't give a rat's ass if you starve or not. Please don't write to me about such matters again. She instructs her maid to send 2 letters to the Florence estate. She thinks, as I am back to 20, Annie must be 14. Olivia thinks of her sister. Annie, I promise you that in this life, I will save you from that dirt hole. Later at the Florence estate, things are far from peaceful. Viscount Florence is absolutely fuming. He slams a letter on the desk, eyes blazing red. Damn it! The letter informs him that with Olivia annulling the marriage, the investment they provided will be recollected. House Parnell requests a swift return. He grits his teeth, convinced. This is all because that Flussy couldn't make up her mind. Remarried without a word to me. He recalled her wedding, embarrassing me at the ceremony. Back in the present, the Viscount kicks a chair in his fury. Ungrateful little whore! Then, someone knocks at the door. Viscount Florence is beyond livid as Annie timidly enters. What? I specifically asked not to be disturbed, Annie squeaks. Father, a letter has arrived, he explodes. I told you such things can wait. He raises a hand to strike Annie, but stops short looking at the letter. Who is the letter from? Annie, clearly terrified, replies. Oh, Olivia sent it. Aha! He snatches the letter. No way she would ignore her fam. But as he reads, his expression darkens. That little whore! He sweeps everything off the desk, sending it crashing to the floor. Annie shivers in fear. He shouts, I feed her, raise her, and this is how she repays me? He clenches his fist on the table. Then he asks Annie, holding the letter. And what is that letter? He asks, dangerously calm. Annie stammers. This is. Viscount Florence looms over her. Olivia gave me. Before she can finish, he grabs the letter, his grip bruising her arm. Give it to me. The letter, from Olivia, reads, I will send a carriage from the Tyrone estate in 3 days. The Viscount smirks, a truly sinister expression on his face. So this is what she had in mind. Meanwhile, at the Tyrone estate, the Duke is reading documents at his desk. He's smiling to himself, and his aides are whispering about his odd behavior. What's up with him? One asks. No idea, says another. The Duke is practically giddy, humming to himself, when Chief Aide Kennan approaches. Pardon me for asking, but are you done reading, Your Grace? The Duke waves him off, still smiling. Sorry, something just keeps coming to mind. Kennan is not amused. What keeps coming to mind? It is obvious that you wish to tell us. Then he subtly flips the Duke of. Ian asks, is that middle finger intentional? Kennan insists. A mistake, I assure you, the Duke tells. The Duchess wants me to stay 2 meters away at all times. Kennan is shocked. Excuse me? Ian replies. She looks so cute that I wanted to give her a peck, but she snapped back with that. Kennan is speechless. You, of all people, did what? He's clearly flustered. I thought he abhorred any contact from ladies. His thoughts are racing. Is this the Duke I know? Do I even want to know? He finds the situation utterly repulsive. The Duke seems oblivious to Kennan's internal crisis. Kennan, have you forgotten your place? Drop down and give me 100. Kennan reluctantly apologizes. Apologies, Your Grace. Later, an aide approaches the Ian with a report. Your Grace, there is one report that you should be cautious of. He looks up, intrigued. The matter concerns the Viscount, Lord Florence, and his estate. Ian questions after taking a look at the report. The Florence estate is in crisis? His aide replies. Yes, Your Grace, Ian says. After settling debts at the cost of selling off Olivia, I guess he now owes them something he can no longer pay back. Ian is surrounded by his advisors, all looking serious. He adds, as for the Parnell estate, their financial affairs must be out of order. They have already attracted enough attention by annulling Olivia's marriage. The Duke, looking regal, wonders, did they have to go so far as request a repayment at such a time? One of his advisors replies, pure spite, Your Grace. If I were the Duke, I would have been outraged too. Ian thinks, had the couple not even seen each other's faces? Oh, so this annulment is a big deal. Did Lord Parnell really have to go this far? Kenan asks. What is our course of action, Your Grace? Ian thinks, there is definitely an untold secret at play. Kenan suggests, why don't we have the debt settled without informing Madam? Maybe she is too ashamed to ask you to take any action. Ian disagrees. That doesn't sound like Olivia, he thinks. If she was someone to be ashamed to mention such things, she would have never been able to make such a scene at the tea house. He imagines her declaring, don't bother yourself with my family just because they are your in-laws. They are scoundrels that are just not worth the time. Ian smirks, clearly amused by her spirit. The advisors are taken aback. Ian raises an eyebrow. What's with the faces? Kenan stammers. Just wondering, Your Grace. He gushes, arms wide open. I mean, as your aide, I celebrate your joyous marriage with fully open arms, but I still wonder how someone's so adamant on staying unmarried. We simply never imagined this day would come. May we ask what it is that changed your mind? The Duke thinks back. When I first heard that heinous song, I brushed it off as a joke. When I discovered that she had spread the song herself, I simply considered her to be another narrow-minded lady. But then, however, as soon as I saw her in person, the determination, as she stared at me with those crimson eyes, the Duke states, let us just say, it was all destiny. His advisor is taken aback. Huh! Then Ian says, everyone, get back to work. I have a date planned with my wife soon. Later, as the carriage was ready, Olivia fumes. I demand an explanation. She recalls Ramana telling her, Madam, it is time for your supper. She thinks, I followed her down because it was time to eat. But outside she found Ian saying, let's go out, Olivia. She nervously thinks, out? Wearing this? She exclaims, I simply came down to have some supper. Ian compliments, even without dressing up, you are radiant. Olivia rebuffs, basic social manners are required, Your Grace. She insists, wait a little, I'll be ready in a moment. Olivia sits down in her room. Go out? Out of the blue? She thinks to herself. It's moments like this where I can really tell he's still a young man. She grabs her necklace and puts it on. Ian peeks through the door. He reaches out to her sneakily and says, it seems you are all ready. Olivia gasps. Ian, he says, let us hurry, you are already perfect. He takes her hand. Let us leave, and kisses it. Olivia gets confused. They get into the carriage. Inside the carriage, Olivia was busy looking at her necklace. Ian notices that, and shows signs of concern. At their stop, Ian extends his hand. Let us get off, Olivia. She takes his hand and says, this place better have some amazing food. Olivia is surprised when she sees the place. This isn't a restaurant. Ian smiles. Right. So there was no need to dress up for anybody. As they were walking inside, Olivia wonders just what exactly they're doing here. The servant guided them to their sitting. Olivia looks around and thinks, this must be their VIP chambers. Ian tells Olivia to take a seat, but she's still stuck on the why. She asks, okay, but why are we even here? Suddenly Ian grips the blue necklace around her neck. He says, it's been on my mind for a while, but you always wear the same necklace. If you want to stick with one piece, I wanted you to have something I got you. Olivia smiles, saying he has too much time on his hands. But Ian turns serious. Wouldn't you be concerned if I were to wear the same tie each day? Especially if I were to insist on just one tie. Olivia's face turns to shock as she realizes what he implies. Oh my God, did he think? She began, did you? But she got interrupted by a woman who welcomes, Your Grace. Welcome, and then says, greetings to Madame Tyrone as well. Long time no see, she exclaims. She was about to send word because she just acquired some lazurite cuffs. Ian apologizes, stating, but I am not buying today. We are here for the Duchess. The woman gasps, finding it so sweet, but inside she fumes. She asks if there's anything in mind. Olivia thinks, a necklace, I suppose. With a finger, Ian commands, bring us everything. Moments later, Olivia gets clearly uncomfortable with this over-the-top display. She thinks, what is this? The woman gushes over a necklace, saying it was extracted a few years back from the mines of Alhambra. Again she insisted, how about we try a yellow diamond? You may have not tried amber on you. Olivia snaps, stop. But she continued nagging her, and Ian just smiles looking at the scene unfold. She thinks to herself, I thought I was pretty used to jewelry, but this has reached a whole new level. Ian orders to send this all to the estate, and charge it to. 1 second! Olivia interrupts. I can't accept this. I do not wish to owe you so much. It's just all too much. I won't be able to even try on everything here. I'll pick 3, maybe 5 items. Ian just smiles and reiterates, everything. Olivia is trembling with anger. You little, she yells, why do you keep insisting on getting me these things? Did you think I would mindlessly accept all of it in a second? You've gone a little too far this time. Don't you think you've pushed me a little too far without even asking what I want? Ian clutches his chest and collapses to the floor. HRGH. Ian! Olivia cries, rushing to his side. WH, what's wrong? Are you okay? But Ian is still smiling. No, it's just seeing you fired up. My heart just skipped a beat. Olivia grimaces. Ian apologizes for acting on his own accord, telling Olivia that they are heading to a special place soon, and he wants her to shine brighter than anyone else there. He asks, so could we get you this necklace? He gestures to an enormous emerald necklace. Olivia pauses, then says, 1 moment. I wish to still keep this necklace with me. She clutches her blue necklace. Ian flinches but softens. It must have been someone dear to you. Yes, Olivia says quietly. This is what I have left of my dear mother. Ian is stunned. Your mother? Later both of them steps out. Olivia says she's starving, and Ian compliments her earrings. Always the gentleman, that one. She just stares blankly at him. She asks why he's still sweating. He sweats, then says, that necklace, Olivia, it belonged to the late Viscountess. Olivia replies, yes. Ian, embarrassed, replies, it felt like she was still here, as if we were in her presence. Maybe I'm just a nervous son-in-law. But Olivia is side-eyeing him, wondering if he's more shaken or relieved by the necklace. I really can't read this man sometimes, she thinks. Anyways, I have these on like you requested, she says, gesturing to the earrings. So no more talk of getting me anything, okay? He agrees, calling her by name. Then Olivia says, let us go in. Ian, like a puppy wagging his tail, replies, okay. Someone watches them through the window with a sharp, suspicious gaze. Inside the grand hall, the couple is greeted. Greetings, Your Grace. Ian requests their usual seating, please. As they walked, people stared at them. Their thoughts were alike. So that woman managed to raise the unraisable Duke. Olivia notices the stares, internally pleading. People, make it a little less obvious. Olivia steels herself, trying to conjure happy, peaceful thoughts. As they were going upstairs, Olivia notices the red-haired woman's gaze. And that red-haired woman is not pleased. Olivia thinks her stare is different, not just curiosity but something else. Ian notices her, he asks, Olivia? I guess such looks can come when your husband is this handsome, she thinks, but she looks annoyed. She grips Ian's arm tightly and says, Ian, all that shopping has me famished. Let's hurry. But Ian teasingly asks why she's suddenly so close, since she usually keeps her distance. Olivia tells him to shut up, let's go. While elsewhere, a hand clenches tightly. Outside, under the moonlight, Olivia arrives home. So tired, she sighs, yawning. She reflects on their nice meal. Still, when have I ever had such a nice meal? At such a nice place with my husband. She sees Ian sitting pensively. Ian is definitely a good person, she thinks. While he does show a brash side at times, he knows how to take a step back with his emotions, considerate of how others may be feeling. A good man, who knows when or when not to act. Then Olivia approaches Ian. Ian, I have something to tell you, she says. He responds. Yes? She says. It's about my baby sister, Annie. I have the responsibility to protect her. Ian's surprised. Responsibility? He asks. Olivia clarifies. Well, not some grand responsibility. I just want to make sure she can go to a decent boarding school, and I plan to cover the cost with my earnings as the Duchess. If I leave her at the Florence estate, she is bound to fall into an unhappy marriage. She recalled her past where older Annie asks her, Olivia, why did we have to be born this way? What did we do so wrong? Back with Ian, Olivia continues, I planned a visit from her in 3 days to hear her out, and you don't need to concern yourself over this. I just wanted to make sure you are aware of what may be happening. He looks at her intently, saying her name, Olivia, and then says, I have no plans of just keeping a title of marriage between us. Olivia gets stunned. A title of marriage. Ian declares that he has no plans beyond a title of marriage between himself and Olivia. Olivia wonders about this, A title of marriage? He continues, reminding her that she chose him, a complete stranger, as her husband, and she realizes that she could have chosen anyone, as long as she could break away from the Parnell estate. Ian states the same goes for him. Without any idea of who she is, he accepted her proposal, point blank. So regardless of the path, they are now husband and wife. He smiles, holding her hand and declaring they're tied in destiny for eternity. He asks her not to say such things as if informing a stranger. Your sister, he says, is my sister and my family. Olivia is taken aback. She thinks in her mind, my husband, my family. She can only manage a quiet, thank you. Ian asks if the issue at hand is her father. Olivia responds, yes. I never want to see him again. Ian asks, do you want him out of the picture? She replies, isn't that obvious? I want him sent somewhere so I never need to see him again. Ian's all too eager to offer. Ben asked that of me. As I said, we are husband and wife, after all. But Olivia pauses, looking away, then says, as much as I appreciate that, please leave this matter in my hands. I want to handle this on my own. Ian looks at her and simply says, sure. Olivia wonders, did I hurt his feelings? Thinking to herself, she apologizes to Ian. I'm sorry, Ian, but this is the way. This is a lifelong task, and I need to solve it on my own. 3 days later, a maid remarks that Olivia's dress is not her usual style. With a smile, Olivia responds, of course, today is a special day. She knows that as planned, Annie is set to visit today, and she's positive he will be joining her too. It's not like her father would miss out on an opportunity like this. He would have intercepted the letter for Annie and taken it in, just the way he wanted to. Olivia asks her maid to tie her hair up. The vibrant dress, she thinks, was all to show my father, who can't stand strong colors. She grins, anticipating the effect. Moments later a servant informed, Madam, the Florence carriage has arrived. I will be right out, she replies. As she opens the door, Ian was in front. Ian, she says, surprised. He responds, I was waiting to escort you down. He smiles. And don't worry, I won't get in your way. Olivia says, I wasn't worried. He takes her hand. Let's go. Downstairs, the father sneers. I knew it, just because she's Madame Tyrone now. He checks his watch, making her own father wait. As they approach, she greets, welcome, Annie. Her father greets Ian, stammering, why, your grace. Her father thinks, I didn't expect the Duke to join us. Olivia went to her sister. She asks Annie how she's been. Is she doing well? Annie shakily replies, why, yes. Olivia's father flinches as Olivia glances at him grimly. Olivia, with a dark smile, remarks, I believe the invitation was directed to Lady Florence. The letter was also addressed to the lady. She pauses, smiling sweetly as she asks, I wonder how you knew of the visit. The father's face contorts in anger. What? You ungrateful. Ian steps in front of Olivia and Annie. Her father shrugs and backs down. Olivia asks if she could leave Annie with Ian for a moment. Ian responds, of course. Olivia asks her father if they could talk separately. As they walk aside, Olivia tells her father not to feel so bad. At least they didn't kick him out for intruding uninvited. Her father followed her huffing and puffing in anger. As they left, Ian asks Annie if she is worried for her sister, Olivia. Annie stammers, oh why yes. Annie worries that her father has a temper and might do something to her. Ian reassures her, no need to worry. Olivia is stronger than you think. Ian tells Annie that he has something to discuss with her too. Annie looks surprised. Across the garden, the Viscount lurks behind Olivia. What is she up to? He wonders. He thinks back to when she was a pushover. Now she's talking back. Is she trying to save face just because she's a duchess? Of course. She was being cautious in the presence of the Duke, but the Viscount admits he didn't like the Duke hanging around either. He smirks thinking, looks like I'll get the help I need. I knew having kids would pay off someday. Just then Olivia stops and says, Lord Florence, care to enter? He replies, sure. Viscount's gaze sweeps over the greenhouse. How does such a place exist within a mansion? Olivia caressed a branch and says, I hear the former Duchess managed this greenhouse in person. Her father replies, quite marvelous. Thanks to you, I'll reap some benefits. She questions, benefits? She adds, you are properly mistaken. Do you think I brought you here to show off the mansion? The Viscount stammers, what? She drags a chair closer saying, I have a reputation to maintain. I brought you out here to avoid showing any ugly parts of myself to my new husband, she says as she sits down. I got your letter. The Parnell estate is demanding a repayment. The Viscount begins to panic. Yes. Do you even know how much of a hassle it has? But she cuts him off. Go home. The Viscount tries to speak. Again she cut him off. I repeat, I never extended an invitation for you, Viscount. I have not a single penny to spare for you. Please leave the premises. Desperate, the Viscount kneels. No, no way. I am down on my knees, coming to you despite my pride. She looks down on him with disdain. She's so done with this. I have no further words to say to you. I hope I never have to concern myself over your petty little visits again. She turns to leave, but the Viscount grabs her wrist. Her eyes widen in anger. He pleads. Even without the debt, you must know that our estate is in trouble. He adds. Yes, what I owe the Parnell estate, I'll handle. But think about your sister Annie, he says with a sinister smile. Even for her sake, wouldn't it be wise of you to provide your father with a little more help? Olivia smacks his hand and shouts. And since when have you been so concerned about Annie? She seethes. Father this, father that, as if you ever acted the part. I won't stand it anymore. And the bruises on Annie's shoulder, those are your doing, no? Abusing and neglecting that little thing. Her rage boils over. And you still dare use her as an excuse to request money? Leave this mansion this instant. I will be taking care of Annie from now on. The Viscount is livid. Do you think I would just let you do that? He shouts, slamming his fist on the table. Seeming all calm, now you show your true colors. Do you think I don't know what you are up to? You are trying to take advantage of Annie, trying to get me out of the picture with all these excuses. What did you say? She's shocked. I fed you, put a roof over your head. He screams. You ungrateful wench! He swings to hit her, but from the shadows, guards appear stopping him cold. He's terrified, frozen. Arg! He cries. Olivia gets surprised. The Knights of House Tyrone are here. She remembers Ian saying, and don't worry, I won't get in your way. A small smile graces her face. He really didn't have to. The Viscount is on his knees, shaking. Olivia says, Viscount, I wanted to keep you in my good graces, but this just cannot pass. Leave this estate at once, she commands. This is my final warning. The Viscount crumbles. Then, with a jolt, he's back on his feet and running. She watches him go, unmoved. You haven't seen the last of me, he vows, puffing and panting. I won't just leave without a fight. She turns to her knights. Good work. Let us return to the mansion. The Viscount fumes. I'll take it all. The money and Annie too. Meanwhile, Ian and Annie were talking, where Ian is explaining the situation. All you need to do is stay with us, right here. It is what we both wanted. You are also set to attend the academy, so let us start preparing any supplies you need. Annie simply replies, okay. As she nervously fidgets with her hands, she wonders to herself, is this all okay? She recalls the past where after Olivia's wedding Annie asks her father, Father, is Olivia doing well? But the Viscount was counting. He coldly responds, that is none of your business. Don't look for her. She is no longer part of this house. Dejected, he says, darn it, I lost my count. She worries. If I were to stay with Olivia, won't that put her in an awkward position? The same burden goes for my brother-in. No, His Grace. Looking at Annie, he asks, if you are that worried about Olivia, why don't we go look for her? Annie is surprised. Excuse me? Ian, with a charming smile, offers, I can give you a tour of the mansion on the way. Annie hesitantly agrees. Oh, of course. She's amazed as they walk the grounds. My gosh, it's like a palace, she says. The garden is so beautiful. Ian simply replies, thank you. Annie reflects on the stark contrast between her current life and her past. A magnificent mansion, and a beautiful garden, things that we sisters never dared to dream of. Annie recalls, I had my concerns when I heard news of Olivia's remarriage to the Duke. I was well aware of the bad rumors surrounding His Grace. However, she now sees Ian, smiling warmly. Now that I am here, I see there was no need for concern. Just then Olivia arrives, so Ian says, Ah, there you are, Olivia. Olivia stands next to Ian, a knowing smile on her face. Annie notices. And Olivia sure looks happy. Suddenly, Annie is grabbed from behind. Annie! It's her father. Annie gets shocked. Father! Olivia and Ian whirl around, shocked. Olivia demands, release her this instant. But Annie's father barks. Silence, he says to Annie. Let us return. There's nothing good left for you here. Think about it. Why would the Duke care for you? He's not even blood-related family. Your sister has brought you here to use you. Only I have your best interests at heart. They will just treat you like a burden." Annie's father continues his tirade. Olivia yells, "That bastard!" Ian calls out, "Olivia." Olivia calmly states, "Hold on a minute, Annie has something to say." Annie flashes back to terrible memories of her father. She clenches her fist and declares, "I choose to stay here." Her father gets furious. "What? Think again. You're making a misdash." But Annie firmly states, "Not at all. If I follow you now, I have a feeling I will regret it for the rest of my life." Olivia and Ian gets to her side. Her father shouts, "These little, both of you are properly out of your darn minds. Just like your mother, sleazy little." Before he can finish, Ian grabs his wrist, his eyes filled with fury. "Watch that mouth of yours. There's only so much I allow." Annie's father, enraged, slaps Ian's hand away. "You'll see. I'll make you regret this day." Olivia retorts, "Try your best." Hearing that, he runs away. Olivia sighs in relief. "Phew. Annie, are you okay? Did he hurt you?" Annie replies, "I'm good." She looks down, feeling guilty. "Sorry. Because of me, you and his grace." Olivia pulls Annie into a hug. "You never have to feel sorry about anything. None of it is your fault. So don't ever blame yourself, okay?" Annie replies, "Got it." Ian smiles reassuringly. "That's right. And a sister of Olivia is also a sister and family of mine. So don't be so cautious." Olivia says to him, "Hey, I don't recall allowing this distance." He counters, "Why not make this an exception?" Annie smiles, finally feeling a sense of belonging. "Thank you, Olivia." Later, Annie is showing off her mad violin skills. Olivia claps and gushes, "My gosh, Botticelli himself would dance in his grave." Annie's a little hesitant, asks, "Is it really okay if I use this like this?" Olivia replies, "You're here with me. Everything is yours to use." Then Annie asks, "How did you even know this was by Botticelli? I thought you had turned away music." Olivia stammers, "Had I?" Annie says, "You said it was a waste of money. Expensive lessons, pricey tickets, a luxury beyond us." She's sweating. "I really didn't spare any words, did I?" Annie's congratulating Olivia. "Congratulations on the wedding again. I think His Grace has given you some peace of heart." Olivia just echoes, "Peace." She recalled her happy moments with Ian and thinks, "Yes, that is what Ian had given me. The stability and comfort I never dreamed of having in my past life. Happiness I wish on you too, Annie. Meet that someone for you." She gives Annie a big hug. "Oh, when did you get so big, my little Annie?" Annie just squeals, "Stop!" Annie then points out the necklace Olivia is wearing. "That necklace, I thought you said it was too out of style, and not your type." Olivia's caught off guard. "Oh, yes, I did say that." She thinks to herself, "Like Annie said, I rarely wore this in my past life." In her past life, one of her mother-in-law hisses, "You want to wear something this trashy?" As she flings the necklace out the window. Olivia pleads, "No, don't." She remembers the third jackass had thrown it out the window, and it was lost for good. Back to the present, Olivia's face is blank. Then she smiles, "I'm going to keep it with me." Annie agrees. "Good idea," she adds. "That was a present from Mother, meant just for you. Just then Ian knocks the door and enters. He says, "Olivia, Annie, may I take a second of your time?" Ian explains to them. Olivia says, "So, you want me to take her shopping tomorrow?" Ian replies, "Yes, as Annie is staying with us, she needs a few supplies for herself." Olivia agrees. "That is true," Ian suggestively asks. "Or should I just join you?" Olivia thinks, She recalls and thinks, "And suffer the same fate as last time?" "No way." Olivia determinedly declares, "No, I will." Just then Annie shrieks, "Arg!" Annie looks concerned. "Annie, what is it? Are you okay?" Annie claims, "I just had a headache. I must be tired." Olivia checks her forehead. "No fever," Annie says. "It's okay, some rest would do it good." She winks towards Ian and adds, "Why don't you just take His Grace shopping tomorrow?" Ian understood and both nods to each other. Olivia gets confused. "Huh!" But they both nod. Ian puts his hand on Olivia's shoulder and says, "That's right. Annie, you better rest up. I'll help get your things." Olivia is completely bewildered. "What?" Ian shows thumbs up to Annie. Later Olivia and Ian went to shopping. While in carriage, Olivia asks, "Seriously, since when have you two been in cahoots with each other?" Ian cheerfully declares, "We actually click pretty well." Ian asks. So, where should we go first? Olivia thinks. A master at changing the subject. Olivia responds. Of course, goes dash. She cuts herself off. Goes? Ian is confused. Exclamation point. Olivia realizes. Oh right! I almost blurted out gosh a department store without thinking. She's panicking. She remembers. 10 years from now, it would be the first department store established in the empire. The exotic name came from the foreigner who had founded it. It was told he was a man of the Orse kingdom who had come to the empire in search of his long-lost daughter. Olivia thinks, I should be more careful. One small slip and Ian is bound to notice something. She happily chimes in. Goes gosh. I think the garment parlor would be great. Ian agrees. Great. Let's do that. They arrive at the garment parlor. The owner greets. An honor to welcome you, Your Grace, Lord and Lady Tyrone. Walking inside, Ian puts his arm around Olivia. Heaven for the youngsters. Everything is in style, Olivia observes. That said, she glances at Ian. Ian sure has a marvelous sense of fashion. Plus, his body is just doing wonders for those clothes. The shopkeeper asks, Madam, anything in particular? Olivia explains. Yes, we are getting things for a younger lady, about 14. The shopkeeper gestures. Right this way. Suddenly Ian stops. Olivia, I don't think we need to look any further. Olivia turns to see what he's looking at. Exclamation point. Ian says. Everything here. He smiles. We'll take it all. Olivia gets shocked. The shopkeeper is even more surprised. She says, feeling annoyed. This guy. Olivia then scolded him. Ian is lost in thought, and Olivia is already on his case. Ian asks, Why are you leaving out all of my choices? She counters, Because you keep grabbing everything. You are clearly overindulging. He is quick to defend himself. And is indulging in goods an issue? She gives him a knowing look. Excuse me? He adds, Overindulging is when I spend money I can barely muster to get things. He then adds with a sly smile, I have the cash and consume things with careful consideration, especially when it comes to spending things on you, Olivia. He gets close to her, caressing her hair. Olivia blushed. She then breathes a sigh of relief. Okay, but only 5 outfits for now. Ian smiles. Okay, but Olivia's thinking. Can't get a word past him. Then Ian suggests, Why don't we get your hair done while we're at it? Olivia seems surprised. My hair? She recalled the red-haired woman from the store and asks him, Did you happen to like curly hair? He quickly states, Nope. She tried to think, and Ian gets confused seeing her. Olivia looks at her hair and wonders, Why am I suddenly reminded of that woman? She is equally perplexed. Did she get on my nerves without me realizing? Or maybe I am being too sensitive. She then says, I think we have our choices here, so let us move on. Ian agrees. Of course. Back at the palace, Olivia is surrounded by gifts. We sure got a lot. She reflects on their shopping spree. All the nagging, I shouldn't have listened to everything he requested. But then she thinks, But we definitely need this. I mean, Annie likes what we got her. But a moment later, her thoughts turn serious. But we can't just go squandering our money like this each time. And I find myself falling into his routine each time. She starts to formulate a plan. Maybe we don't keep track of what we are buying because we are busy jumping from each shop to the next. We could save time if we have all the shops in one place and also have an objective view of all the goods. Suddenly, she exclaims, That's right. Turning to Ian, she suggests, Ian, why don't we get started on a business? A business that can put your tendencies to good use. Ian looks intrigued. Later, in a meeting, Olivia proposes, A department store? Ian responds, That is a marvelous idea. Olivia thinks to herself, I'm glad he's more for it than I expected. The Gashu department store had a revolutionary structure for the time of its opening. The entire concept of looking at various items in one single building was new to the people. However, that same factor brought the animosity of nobles. They deemed such a structure cheap and messy. Ian says, That reminds me. I have yet to introduce my chief aide, Kenan. Kenan bows respectfully. In honor, madam. Olivia replies, The pleasure is mine. Kenan shakes her hand saying, And mine, madam. As Kenan was about to speak further, Ian sneakily hits him and asks Kenan, What do you think, Kenan? Visibly shocked, Kenan stammers, It's a splendid idea, Your Grace. Bit in his mind he questions why. Seriously? Kenan then points out. However, real estate prices have risen in the capital, so the profit margins may be thin. Olivia confidently states, Department stores need more aggressive investment in the beginning. Something only the Tyrone estate is capable of, Kenan says. Understood. I will review this matter with the aide staff. Olivia thanks him. As Ian and Kenan were discussing the matter, Olivia muses to herself. Such a matter would have been instantly shut down at the stuck-up Parnell estate. They are willing to accept the idea without prejudice. Olivia sips her tea and thinks, I'm glad I mentioned the idea. Kenan asks, Madam, how on earth did you come up with such a concept? Olivia shrugs. Oh, it's nothing grand. Most people would have thought about something like this. I just figured it would be nice to be able to see all kinds of items at one venue. A small idea, that's all, plus Ian's love of shopping. Kenan, completely starstruck, exclaims, Huh? Can I just leave my position with His Grace and serve as your aide? Olivia is taken aback. Excuse me? Ian's expression darkens. He says to Kenan, with a hint of menace, Kenan, expect a pay cut. You little. Kenan, unfazed, insists. I jest, Your Grace. I am fully loyal to serve you. Ian retorts. Loyalty based on economic gain, correct? Kenan replies. Come on, Your Grace. Olivia giggles, seeing them playing with words. Ian grins, seeing her smile. Later that evening, Olivia asks Annie, Annie, should we get ready for bed? Annie replies, Okay. Olivia then asks Annie, I saw you reading up on the Academy catalogs. Have you made up your mind? Annie replies, Oh no, I'm still deciding. Olivia smiles warmly and says, Take your time. You need to decide the right place for you. Annie smiles back. I will. Annie then stares intently at Olivia, making her blush. Olivia asks, What are you staring at? Annie replies, Sis, I'm curious. Olivia asks, About? She asks, You and His Grace are newlyweds. Why aren't you sleeping together? Then she went to Ian and Olivia followed her asking, Where are you heading at this time of night? Annie replies, To His Grace. I have some questions for him. Olivia points. It's fine if you go, but you're in your nightgown. Annie insists. It's not. Plus I have this cardigan on. Olivia pleads. Let's just have this conversation tomorrow. But Annie says, This can't wait. As the two argue, the door creaked opens and Ian comes out. Olivia? He questions. Olivia is flustered as Ian asks, What are you two doing here? She stammers. Ian, the thing is... Annie jumps in. I had a question for you. I'm yet to choose my academy, but I'm still torn. I just wanted to ask you for advice. Annie is grinning and winks to Ian. Olivia glares at her sister. Ian considers this and looks at the suggestions. I see. The way I see it, this place seems the best. Good faculty reviews, and the facilities. Olivia thinks with a mix of annoyance and realization. Doesn't hurt to see them growing so close. Annie definitely looks cheerier than when she was with father. After getting his advice, Annie is overjoyed. Thank you for the advice. Good night. Ian replies politely. Good night. As Annie turns to leave, Olivia apologizes to Ian. Sorry for disturbing you so late. I'll see you tomorrow. Hearing that, Annie quickly turns and confronts Olivia. Why are you following me? Olivia feigns innocence. I need to go to sleep. Annie sighs and says, Ugh, you're really going to make him do this? Annie smirks mischievously. Your Grace, it looks like Olivia wants to sleep with you tonight. Saying that, she pushed Olivia at Ian and says, Thanks for all the help, saying that she left. Olivia is shocked as Ian grabs Olivia. Olivia cries out, Wait! Annie, come back! But Annie just skips away, mission accomplished. Ian chuckles to himself. Annie really is something else. Later, Ian and Olivia are sitting together. Olivia looking dazed. Olivia glances nervously at Ian, who is reading a letter. She remembers his words. I will wait until the day you are ready. Olivia thinks to herself. I haven't considered sleeping with him since that day. There was too much going on. Ian asks, Are you okay? Close up on their faces, Ian looks concerned. Olivia blushed and smiles softly. Haha, it's fine. Sorry, my sister acted that way. Ian responds. Not at all. I'm pretty sure she has the best intentions. She may be worried that her being here has caused us to drift apart, she remarks. You two have really grown closer, huh? Ian just laughs. Olivia then says, Okay, I'll just wait until she's back in her room. Ian asks, You're leaving? Ian leans in close with a suggestive smirk. I really thought you were staying over. Olivia's face turns serious as he says, I feel like I have been patient enough. Meanwhile, you just keep seducing me. Olivia frowns. You're the one trying to seduce me. Ian asks, Do you still need time? Olivia is visibly troubled as she thinks to herself. Yes, I do still have a vague reluctance to sleeping with someone. She recalls a dark memory of a previous relationship. But I really don't know. Inwardly she says, Ian, Just then Ian says, if that's so, could you sing me a lullaby? Until I fall asleep? Ian smiles gently. Under the moonlight, Olivia begins to sing. Sweet little bird, off and got a willow leaf. Kiss me goodnight, no more tears. Ian is now lying down and Olivia is sitting near him. She smiles at him. A lullaby? That's new. I mean, you keep asking for unlikely things, he teases. I've been craving for your love. I need me some affection. Ian is delighted. Olivia says, come on. Then he says, thank you. Happiness really wasn't far. Olivia stares off saying, wasn't far. She recalls through her mind dark figures from her past. Tears start to well up in her eyes. Ian notices and asks, Olivia, are you okay? Olivia smiles, tears streaming down her face. It's tears of joy that I didn't know I could have. Ian is relieved. Well, I'm glad. They embrace tenderly. Later at the Alkesis estate, Romeo is enjoying some tea and reading. She had me worried, but Olivia sure seems well. He takes a sip thinking, I kind of miss her. His butler announces, Master Romeo, you have a visitor. Romeo is surprised. A visitor? His butler says, as you were already in the drawing room, I had him come here. I wasn't expecting any visitors. The mysterious visitor appears, standing tall and ominous. Romeo looks up saying, I wasn't expecting any visitors. As Jack appears, Romeo exclaims, looking terrified, You are. Later Olivia sits in her grand estate, reading a letter. It's from Romeo. I heard your news in the papers. I'm glad you are well. Let us meet up soon. Olivia smirks, thinking to herself, Romeo, just the same, only concerned for me. Just then Kenan knocks at the door. Madam, it's Kenan. Come in, she calls. Kenan enters, greeting her. Greetings, madam. Olivia looks up, tilting her head. Welcome, Kenan. What is the matter? We have a sketch up for the store. Kenan explains, holding out the document. Olivia's eyes widen. Wow, that was quick, she thinks. That was really swift. Very capable indeed. Olivia and Kenan pore over the plans. Maybe we could fix just this part, Olivia suggests, pointing to the blueprint of a grand building. While maintaining the external look, Olivia adds, tracing a finger along the detailed drawing. I was hoping it could have 5 floors. Kenan is taken aback. 5 floors? Olivia thinks in her head. Of course he is surprised, she continues. Even the most luxurious noble mansions rarely had more than 3 floors, so there was no history of something like a department store having 5 floors. Besides, maybe towers for imperial prisoners. Kenan gulps. Raising it a single floor would cost us a sizable amount of gold, he adds. Wouldn't expanding the overall area be more cost-effective? Olivia replies. That would leave the store looking empty. There won't be that many vendors in the beginning. Olivia is determined. I expect this building to be a landmark of the empire. As costly as the initial capital may be, aggressive investment would be key to its success. Kenan is speechless. Seeing that, Olivia thinks, did I push a little too far? But Kenan had other plans. Madam, I should really change my position to serve you, he blurts out. Olivia is surprised. What? Don't jest, Kenan insists. I am being serious, he says. His grace lacks certainty at times, so it can become a burden. Plus, his personality. Kenan is haunted by Ian, who whispers, Do you want to lose this job? Olivia thinks to himself, if only I wasn't from the future, I would be uncertain too. Olivia smiles, holding up the plans. I'm just throwing out ideas here. It is all possible thanks to all of your support, Kenan says. That alone is praiseworthy, madam. That reminds me, I have another matter too. Suddenly Ian bursts into the room and says, Kenan, keep your distance from my wife, he yells, his eyes blazing with possessiveness. Kenan is internally exasperated. Here he goes again, just obsessed. Later, all 3 of them are seated together. Kenan thinks, weirdo. Ian asks, so, you were just discussing the department store? Olivia nods, smiling sweetly at Ian. Yes, the SketchUp just arrived. Ian narrows his eyes. You didn't even hear me knocking, he adds coldly. I thought he was coming on to you or something. Kenan scoffs. Coming on? You are so mistaken, Your Grace, Ian retorts. Well, you haven't shown him your best behavior. Olivia taps her teacup impatiently. Stop at once. She turns to Kenan. Kenan, you said there was another agenda to discuss? Kenan coughs awkwardly. Apologies. We need to choose a name for the store. We need a name to acquire a permit from the municipal office. Olivia ponders. I never considered a name. Can't just call it Gashu, Ian suggests. How about Martini? Olivia echoes. Martini? Olivia asks. Why martini of all things? Ian explains. Consider what a martini always contains. He pauses dramatically. Olivia's eyes widen as she thinks. A martini, topped with an olive. Olive, she muses. Olive equals Olivia? Olivia giggles, covering her mouth. My gosh, Ian! Ian simply laughs. Kenan is visibly uncomfortable. He stands up in turn. Let me give you the room. As Kenan turns to leave, Ian calls out. Wait, Kenan, one more thing. Kenan turns back. Your Grace? Ian's expression hardens. His Majesty's birth festivities are close. We need to begin preparing. Kenan and Olivia both stare at him. Ian thinks, I guess I'll run into them at the festivities. He recalled one of his conversations with the king. The emperor stops him and asks, You're leaving? You don't plan on seeing her? Ian replies, No need for me to. The emperor presses, You know, you could really warm up to her a little. Ian replies, We're bound to run into each other at your birthday festivities. The emperor laughs, Sure then, just don't get into a fight. While leaving, the king laughs. See you around, dear cousin. As Ian watches him leave, his eyes darken. He thinks to himself, His Majesty, the Emperor. As much as he shows his warm and mushy side, he was truly one calculative individual. After the Empress bore him multiple children, all daughters, he took in more imperial consorts for political purposes. But the Empress, as quiet as she was, did not show an ounce of jealousy or rage. The consorts, all bearing sons, held their heads high. But then there was she, who stomped out all their ambitions. Later the emperor went inside a room where her daughter was standing. He says, It's been a while, Startis. The crown princess and the emperor are having a little chat. I assume you know why I called you here? The emperor asks. Turns out it's about the matter of the crown princess's future spouse. The emperor advises, As a woman, you won't be able to play the crown prince game with multiple partners like I did. But you should still keep many consorts. Anyone with the potential to threaten your position should be kept in close quarters, restricted by these walls. Then he asks if the crown princess has decided on a final candidate from the short list. The crown princess replies, I have decided upon Lord Romeo of the Alkesis estate. The emperor thinks Alkesis, a choice he would expect from my daughter. Then he smirks, revealing that the other two on the short list, excluding Romeo, were both blonde. He realizes Startis is choosing a spouse purely based on hair color, saying it's arbitrary, just like her father who chose his spouse just because they shared his birthday. Then the emperor says, I ran into Ian on the way here. Startis thinks, Ian Tyrone, I haven't heard that name in a while. Even the emperor, heartless to his own blood, had his exceptions. Then the emperor says, Ian wanted to visit the palace with his wife to greet me. The emperor suggests having a family dinner with his fiancée-to-be. Startis thinks, I have no interest in his affairs, I would rather sit down with a good book. But I guess I do need to see my spouse-to-be in person before the engagement. Finally she sighs and says, Understood, your majesty. Meanwhile, at her estate, Olivia is checking out her new decor. Good, very good. Now this looks like a proper home. I guess money does help. I can really get whatever I want to decorate this place. Then she thinks, maybe this is why Ian is so keen on saying we'll take it all at each turn. Now that Annie is here, maybe I should set a room for. She recalls of her and Ian getting close. So then she thinks, I'll make sure the two of them are separated enough to prevent further scheming. We can't have them together again. Just then she imagines Ian, who's whispering, Olivia. Olivia, snapped back to reality, is suddenly punching. Olivia thinks, it's a weird feeling. Ian is constantly, inevitably on my mind. A single word from him has me nervous. I can't even look him in the eye. This feeling, it must be. Ian startles her, grabbing her shoulder. Olivia! There you are. Ian startles her so much she jumps. She overreacted. Man, I just jumped a foot. He apologizes, asking if he startled her. Olivia pouts, saying, Of course you did. Didn't you learn how to knock? Ian looks serious, saying, I'm sorry. I just felt like you have been avoiding me lately. Olivia denies it, exclaiming, Avi avoid you? No way. Look how close we are now. She throws her arms around him, and then asks what he's doing here anyway. He explains that he was hoping they could pick out matching outfits for His Majesty's birthday festivities, explaining that married couples do match dress codes for large balls like the festivities. Normally the wife decides, or the tailor decides for you. Olivia thinks to herself, he really is something else. She teases him. You really like playing dress up. Maybe I should get you a doll. He responds, I don't do this for anyone. I just like dressing you up. Olivia retorts, stop with the cringy comments. Just then someone knocks the door. A butler announces, Madam, Your Grace, a message from the Imperial Palace awaits. The invitation is for the Empress's Palace this Thursday, and those attending include Her Majesty the Crown Princess, Romeo of House Alkesis, and Lord and Lady Tyrone. Olivia exclaims, Romeo! Then Ian says, we better prepare for this. Olivia replies, of course. Olivia thinks, even in this life, Stardust chooses him as her partner. I haven't seen Romeo in ages. Meanwhile, Romeo is also reading the invitation. A few days have passed. Olivia is sitting pretty in a carriage, looking serene. Ian says, a mischievous glint in his eye. I don't think that dress is the one I picked out for you. Olivia's replies, how could I wear that party dress to a family gathering? I'll get you a doll you can dress up on the way back. Ian pouts. So mean. Come on, she adds playfully. But beneath the surface, Olivia's got a lot on her mind. The days just flew by. I wonder if I'll get some time to talk to Romeo. She thinks, the life I have now is all thanks to his doing. I never got a chance to thank him. But then, Olivia's biting her lip, lost in thought. And Ian notices, of course. Stop biting your lip, he warns. You'll bleed. I'm just a little nervous, Olivia admits. But Ian ain't buying it. Liar, he retorts. I know you won't be nervous with such things, if not excited. Olivia raises an eyebrow. What would I be excited about? Ian smirks. You might be looking forward to meeting someone who is attending today's gathering. Olivia wonders. Does Ian know that Romeo was the one who spread the scandalous ballad? If Ian knew, he never would have agreed to marry me, unless he was totally out of his mind. Ian continues, if you happen to be nervous about the crown princess, no worries. As blunt as she is still nice. Olivia thinks. He's speaking of the cool-headed princess so easily. Really, as close as he is with the emperor, is it okay? Cue the royal carriage arriving at a grand estate. Meanwhile, inside, Stardust takes a sip of tea. A servant announces, Your Majesty, the Duke and Duchess, Lord and Lady Tyrone, they have arrived. Let them in, she replies. Olivia bows. An honor to make an acquaintance with Your Majesty, Stardust says. Long time no see, Lord Tyrone. And you must be the Duchess, Lady Tyrone, Olivia replies. Yes, Your Majesty. Stardust apologizes. Apologies for my absence at the wedding. It coincided with some official matters I had to tend to. Olivia waves it off. No need for apologies. The opportunity to hold it at the Diamond Hall alone was an honor to be passed on for generations. Stardust then adds, I was rather surprised by that news. I knew His Majesty treasured the Duke, but this was another level. Olivia thinks, why do I get the feeling that she's being sarcastic? She hasn't even asked us to be seated yet either. Just then Ian says, we're used to it by now. Brutal, Romeo. Olivia panics inside. My man, can we not add salt to the wound? Stardust exclaims. Aha, so you are taking his favor for granted? Ian retorts. I don't plan on being modest when it is a given fact that His Majesty treasures he like his own child. Starts fires back. I hoped your marriage would grant you some maturity. Your vanity precedes you. Ian dramatically cries. I am afraid you're the only one who has matured beyond expectation. It feels like just yesterday, you were crying after tripping on your dress. Stardust warns. I have plenty of shameful deeds to share from your past too. Remember when you hid a page from my homework when I had a better grade in our Esperanto language class? Sparks are flying between these two. Talk about childhood rivals. Olivia watches the two of them and intervenes. Excuse me, so I take it you two were rather close ever since you were children? Olivia smiles innocently while they looks blank. Ian and Stardust loudly reply. No way. Not at all. Olivia thinks. You couldn't have fooled anyone. Olivia thinks. Given that, even as blood relatives, they really do look alike. They couldn't be half-siblings? Not much of an age gap between them. That would be something that only happens in novels, right? Stardust says. If not for the incident at the Marquis of Whitefall's estate, we would have been complete strangers. Am I wrong? Ian stares intensely. Then Stardust teases. What are you going to do? Trip me over like when we were children? Olivia thinks. So he did that too. Olivia is frustrated. What are Romeo and I supposed to do when our spouses are enemies? Olivia thinks back to her past life. In the past life, Romeo and I were able to stay close because the Parnell house was an important ally for the Emperor. Now, it seems we could barely even speak, nevertheless stay close as friends. Just then the Emperor suddenly exclaims, "Cousin-in-law!" Hands in air for a hug, he exclaims, "Greetings!" Olivia bows. "A pleasure to make your..." As Olivia finishes, the Emperor grabs her hand and says, "Oh, come on, my dear. I told you there is no need for formal greetings, especially not when you may even have a precious baby on the way." Olivia says, "Oh, yes," but she realizes. Olivia's eyes widen in surprise, then narrow in suspicion. Olivia is lost in thought as the group stands together. As the Emperor gets to know, he quiet down. "Shame, I thought you were pregnant." Olivia replies, "Not at all, Your Highness." "Why did you?" The Emperor tells. "In hopes of seeing you again, I had sent messages and personally consulted Ian, and the rascal declined all offers, saying you were not well." Olivia looks at Ian and thinks, Ian has been busy. The Emperor, clearly disappointed, reveals, "I had even prepared a celebratory gift. I guess we have no need for that then." Olivia wonders inside, "Why did you automatically lead to that conclusion?" Ian says, "We appreciate the sentiment, Your Majesty, but we plan on enjoying our marriage further, and have no plans for children yet." Starkis then smugly says, "He's not going to hunt any game while shooting blanks. Maybe the rumors of his inability to procreate are in fact true." Olivia trembles, thinking, no holding back. Ian counters, "I guess whatever gift you prepared can be given to Her Highness. She is, after all, soon to be wed." Clearly annoyed, Starkis asks, "You dare to involve yourself in my personal matters?" Olivia thinks, I guess she has no immediate plans to have children. Naturally, having a child would impact her stable rule. The Emperor tries to defuse the situation. Now, can we all get along?" The Emperor introduces Starkis's future imperial consort. "Your future imperial consort, I present Lord Romeo Alkesis." Olivia's eyes widen. "Romeo!" But moments later, as they all sat down, the atmosphere was awkward. "I expected the awkwardness, but this is just suffocating," Olivia thinks. Then Olivia asks Starkis, "Is it the first time you are meeting Lord Alkesis, Your Highness?" Starkis glances at Romeo, then says, "I've seen his face before. My staff organized the candidates, and I made my choice. He was the only candidate with hair color different from mine." Olivia gets confused. "Excuse me?" Starkis adds, "His hair, it is of a different pigment from mine." Olivia realizes, damn these Imperials, is marriage a joke for all of them? I did hear that she accepted the other two candidates as side consorts. Just because she was an empress did not mean that marital alliances did not exist. So she kept many other consorts, not just Romeo, who was the primary imperial consort. She wonders, was Romeo content with such an arrangement? Then Starkis adds, "It probably isn't as scandalous as the Tyrone estate, and its newlyweds who have shook the empire." Olivia wonders, why is she so hostile? Then Ian chimes in, putting his hand on Olivia's. "Of course, we reached matrimony after a passionate relationship. You probably won't understand Your Majesty's confusion, as marriage based on love are not common among nobles, Your Highness." He smirks, saying, "You probably won't understand this concept of love, Your Highness." Olivia says inwardly, "Can we just stop it with the cheap blows?" Then the Emperor mentions, "I hear you are planning something interesting, a department store?" Olivia confirms, "Yes, Your Majesty." He asks, "What are you calling it?" Olivia replies, "Oh, it is," she thinks. "I'm too embarrassed to tell him myself." She whispers to Ian, "Don't make it more awkward by telling him, okay? Just tell him we are undecided." But Ian blurts out, "It's Martini, Your Highness." Olivia snaps, "Hey, what did I just tell you?" The Emperor asks, "Oh, like martini?" He elaborates, "You mean a martini cocktail, garnished with an olive?" Ian exclaims, "Yes, correct, the store was Olivia's idea. I wanted the name to be reminiscent of her presence." The Emperor seems amused. "Ha! It is quite an outstanding name." Olivia, embarrassed, replies, "Yes, Your Highness." Just then the Emperor's aide lean in. "Your Majesty, your next appointment," the Emperor says. "Oh right, I must take my leave. Let me leave you here." As he was leaving, Olivia frowns inside. He leaves after setting up this awkward gathering? Then Starkis suggests, "What good is it sitting? Let us take a walk." Olivia says in her mind, "That is a grand idea." So Olivia nods. Later outside, Ian calls out, "Olivia, are you mad at me?" she responds. Yes, I am. So don't speak to me. He begins. Olivia, I just. But Stardust cuts him off. Clingy men lose their charm. Lord Tyrone. He points. You're the one who caused this. Olivia sighs. Here we go again. I just can't bother anymore. Suddenly, Romeo sneaks up and grabs her hand. Olivia gets shocked. Huh. He shushes her to keep quiet. Romeo? She asks, turning to see him standing right there. He apologizes, saying, Sorry, did I startle you? Romeo explains that he's been trying to catch her alone because there's something he needs to tell her. She thinks remembering Ian and Stardust's bickering. Totally true. Romeo nods at Olivia as she says, Right? Even us friends didn't get a chance to chat? He then drops a bomb, mentioning he heard news about her and her husband in the papers. He continues, adding that since she always seemed to be doing well, he just assumed it was true. Then he asks the question that's been on his mind. Are you happy, Ollie? Olivia is stunned by his question. She thinks, my current life is incomparably happier than life as Lady Parnell. Then a small smile graces her lips. She says, Yes, I'm happy. He pulls her aside, telling her, Ollie, listen to me carefully. Your ex-husband is here in the capital. Olivia is understandably confused and worried. She asks, What? What do you mean? Seeing her distress, Romeo quickly puts a finger to her lips. Sure. Romeo tells her that either way, he thought she should know. Olivia, still reeling from the news, grabs Romeo's sleeve, desperate for answers. Wait, what about you? Can I help you with anything? He says. You know me. Whatever I do, I'll still be stuck with this same fate. Olivia says. I want my favorite person to be truly happy, just like you granted me the happiness I have. He gives her a gentle smile. Thanks, Ollie. Just then someone calls out. Is there something wrong, Lord Alkesis? Suddenly, Ian looms into the scene, his face unreadable. Moments later, Ian and Olivia were walking. There was an awkwardness, she thinks. Romeo was quick enough to convince him. He said to Ian, the Duchess was about to fall, so I assisted her. She then remembers. Either way, James is in the capital. He should be on the battlefield, and even in the past he had not set foot in the capital in a decade. And even if he was here, there's no way he wouldn't cause a ruckus. Olivia is still suspicious. The people of the Parnell estate would have spread the word. Romeo must be mistaken. And internally she recalls that her current self has no ties to James and that he wouldn't be looking for a bride he's never met. Turning to her, Ian asks, What are you thinking about, Ollie? Ian looks at her expectantly, but Olivia coldly responds, Say what you need to say, stop being petty. Ian, hurt, replies, I don't have anything to say. I'm just a little hurt. My own wife does not allow me to call her dear wife or even a nickname she allows a friend. Ian is sulking again, so she thinks. So I'm the bad guy again. Olivia smiles softly. I like it when you call me Olivia. She reflects on how, for so long, she had lived with her name lost, only being referred to as Lady Wife, or even Flussy Useless Daughter. She continues. So I like that you, someone closest to me, calls me by my name. Ian is visibly moved by her words. Feeling a surge of affection, he gives her a warm embrace. Olivia gets surprised. Whoa. Ian, clearly touched, tells her, Thank you for saying that. I am glad I am someone special to you. Then he says, If I asked for a kiss right now, I suppose you would refuse? She replies, Of course. He adds, I'm joking, Olivia. I won't do anything you do not want. That's when Olivia has a realization. She thinks, Now I'm certain that I could give my life, my all, to this man. Regardless of his riches and honor, all his titles, and looks, certain that all I needed was just this man. Olivia smiles and whispers, Ian. Leaning in close to him, she says, I think I am ready to take the next step. Looking at Ian with pure love in her eyes, she says, I'm prepared to give you all of me. Ian is surprised. That means, Olivia says, Please don't tell me you are playing dumb. I take back my refusal of your kiss. Then they kissed. Moments later they were sitting at a bench. Olivia was snuggling to him, saying, Jealous, affection-seeking, so many flaws, Your Grace. He winks with a smug look on his face. Yes, but also abundant with luck. Olivia is not impressed. Yeah, sure. Just in case you misunderstood, Romeo is just a good friend. Ian quickly replies, I am aware. As she glares at him for knowing, he giggles. Seriously, I do. Let us invite the imperial couple to the mansion next time. We are, after all, to become one family. Upon hearing that, Olivia thinks, family? Then she says, So you and the crown princess are really close. You're inviting her over? Ian says, Not at all. Just a disobeying little sister, Olivia says. I am actually rather worried. Will the princess manage to make Romeo happy? Olivia's thoughts turn heavy, remembering. Romeo pulled me out of the hellhole that is the Parnell estate. Could I do nothing to help him in return? Ian tries to reassure her. No need to worry so much. Like His Majesty said, she picked him with his hair color, right? But this only makes Olivia more concerned. That's why I am worried. Such an arbitrary factor. Ian says, really? When I heard that, I really thought it to be unlike the typical Startes. He tries to soothe her. It's hard to explain, but I am sure it isn't the harsh circumstances you are dreading. Please don't worry. Olivia, however, is not convinced. You two are really close. Ian is clearly annoyed. Please stop. It sickens me to hear that. But Olivia admits. But he has managed to put my mind at ease. Thanks to Ian, my mind is a little free from anything about James or Romeo. Olivia, smiling softly as she leans against Ian, says, I want to hurry back home. Ian, looking smitten, replies, Me too. And then they kissed again. Meanwhile, Romeo and Startes were watching them. Startes says, Well, that just ruined my day. Deranged behavior. Startes walks away, huffing and puffing. Romeo stands there behind, then he recalls Olivia saying, Yes, I'm happy. Romeo, with a blink, thinks, I'm glad at least you are happy. The fates of people of the Alkesis household are set at birth. The firstborn son, healthy and capable, set to continue the family business. The cool-headed second son, trained to assist their older brother. But Romeo? On the sidelines was the third son and runt, Romeo Alkesis. Even his mother sneers. If only you had been a girl. It would have been better. What was the point of such comments when Romeo was already born as a boy? The grown-ups of the Alkesis estate soon set a plan for Romeo. His father declares, You will be married off to any household that can benefit the Alkesis estate. Romeo replies, Yes, father. Romeo despondently thinks, Everybody valued me based on how useful a pawn I could be. The reason Olivia and I could become the closest of friends was because she was the only one who did not see me as an item to be traded for some value. Young Romeo sits alone in the academy until Olivia approaches. Hey, she asks with surprise, Are you Romeo Alkesis? Romeo, taken aback, thinks, I guess she's going to start by talking about my family's wealth. Olivia asks curiously, So you must have been to the Orse Kingdom? Romeo says. Huh, no, I haven't been, Olivia says. Really? I thought you would have. I mean, your family does business there, Romeo replies. I'm not involved in any large deals like that, Olivia then says. Maybe after graduation you could visit there someday? She encourages him. Once you try harder. I don't think it's time to give up just yet. Romeo is touched. And once that time comes, she asks, Could you take me with you? Olivia reaches out her hand. Romeo looks at her hand and shakes it. Sure, it's a deal. As they shake, Olivia says, Really? Thanks. There's a reason I have to go. Romeo is curious. Have to? May I ask what that reason is? Olivia thinks for a moment, then leans in close and whispers, 'Cause you said you'd take me? You're the only one I'm telling this to. Smiling brightly, she reveals, That's where my real father is. Romeo gets surprised. Excuse me, Olivia says, Sorry to dump my paternal and emotional baggage on you, but it's true. She rummaged through her robe and pulls out a necklace. She says, This necklace belongs to my late mother. I hear it's embedded with crystals from Orse. Romeo asks, That's why you want to go there? Olivia, determined, declares, Yes, I have no doubt my real father is from there. Either way, you'll take me to Orse, just like you promised, right? Romeo gives her a reassuring smile. Of course. I promise. He seals the promise with a pinky swear. Romeo thinks to himself, But I never got the chance to keep that promise. Even before we had graduated, Olivia had become the Duchess, Lady Parnell. So I accepted her favor of spreading a scandalous ballad in the marketplace. It was all I could do, when I had failed to keep my promise of taking her to the Orse Kingdom. And now, Lord James Parnell was at my door. He recalled his conversation with James. James said, I plan to take back my wife. She has been tricked. If you are truly her friend, please assist me. Romeo replies, How do you expect me to help you? James' hand clenches into a fist. He replies ominously, I ask that you set up a time for me to personally consult my wife. Back to present, Romeo groans to himself. What does he intend to do? So what if Lord Tyrone is actually impotent? Does it even matter if Ali is happy with him? Just then Startes says to him, You are different, Lord Romeo. Romeo turns to her. Your Majesty. She steps up saying, anyone who makes my acquaintance is just sucking up to get on my good side. I don't even see you batting an eyelash. Romeo responds softly. My eagerness would not change anything. She looks at Olivia and Ian and asks Romeo, why? Do you envy them? Romeo replies, not if at all. I simply consider them to be lucky. She grabs Romeo's chin. Who knows, even we could become lucky or unlucky. I may be fine with anyone else, but I sure hate losing to Lord Tyrone in anything. Later an aide tells them about the royal couple. Olivia asks, the royal couple has already left? The aide replies, yes. Olivia thinks to herself, I get the Empress, but Romeo left without a word to me. Weird. Then Ian says, too bad. We should head back too. Olivia replies, yes, of course. As Olivia and Ian walks towards the carriage, the Emperor interrupts, stopping them. Already leaving? He says. You're leaving so soon. Olivia only grins, but inside she's fuming. Are you really that bored? Stop jumping out of nowhere. She bows to him. Thanks to your Majesty, we have enjoyed our visit. He takes her hand and says, the pleasure is all mine. I'm simply filled with joy these days, thanks to you. Olivia is seething internally. Aren't you the jackass who paired me with James? The king interrupts her thoughts. That reminds me. I had a gift ready to celebrate your pregnancy. He presents a gift to Olivia, saying, it is not much. Olivia opens the box, surprised. A gift, our deepest gratitude. Inside is a beautiful tiara. Olivia gets surprised. Huh? She exclaims. Whoa! She stammers, saying, this is a tiara. Something like this is only right for royalty. Yes, he replied calmly, and I am glad to have found the right owner for it. She turns to Ian in confusion, and then again turns to the Emperor and says, this is too much, Your Majesty. I have to decline. Ian insists. Just take it, Olivia. She asks, excuse me? Then the Emperor says, Ian, you know it was I who named you that, right? He replies, yes. The Emperor gets close to him and smiles. Well, that surely takes a load off my chest. Olivia glances at him in confusion. As the Emperor departed them, he says, I wish you happiness. While inside the carriage, Ian was lost in thoughts. Olivia says, Ian, please tell me the truth. What is it between you two? He repeats, between us. Olivia adds, I'm sure now there is something there. She asks bluntly, are you his hidden bastard, perhaps? Ian laughs, then says, it's a long story. Do you think you could handle it? Upon hearing that, she remains silent and thinks, his secret, something no one had heard before. Did I even have the right to know, when I was still keeping secrets of my own? She decided quietly. I don't need to. He smiles. Then that's settled. Her gaze drifted back to the tiara. Maybe this tiara has got something to do with them. Regardless, it sure is pretty. Top of the shelf. Ian then asks, why are you staring at it so hard? She replies, oh, I just felt like it was a shame. I can't dare wear it, and I can't sell a gift either. We won't have any children, so it won't become an heirloom. It's all just a shame. Ian smiles. Funny that you mention that. He asks gently, may I ask why you are so against having children? She raised a brow, then says, do you think you could handle what I have to say? Touché. He chuckles. My words right back at me. After a moment, he steps closer and picks up the tiara. Just try it on. It's only the two of us here. He insists. Come on. She hesitates. Huh. Still. She finally gave in. He says, lean forward a little. She closed her eyes, thinking, am I really allowed to do this? But to her surprise, Ian kisses her. He says, sorry. With your eyes closed like that, it was too much. She fumes. You little. Seriously? He then chuckles and says, seriously though, lean forward again. I'll really put it on this time. Olivia clenches his fist, saying, keep that promise. He replies, understood. She felt his fingers gently settle the tiara in place. As he puts it on her, she looks amazing. He gets stunned for a moment. It looks great on you, he said softly. I feel myself falling for you all over again, she says. Stop it. No need to lie. He gets close, caressing her, and says, I'm serious. You're beautiful. Her cheeks warmed despite herself. As they reached their mansion, Ian ordered his servants, we will not need anyone on call. Seeing their hand in hand, the maid squealed, yea. They reply, yes, Your Grace. As they entered the room, Olivia says, wait, I need to freshen up. Ian pulls her close and leaning kissed her. Her cheeks gets red. She calls out, Ian. He smiled softly. I thought you were scared. Why are you permitting me now? She replies, smiling warmly. Just because I love you. Upon hearing that, Ian thinks for a moment, then he grabs her and takes her to the bed. Olivia gets surprised for a moment. They kissed each other passionately. Then they did the deed. Later they lay on bed, thoughts drifting. I still wonder, how on earth did we get from being strangers to this? Her fingers brushed his hair. He rubs his head against it and says, Olivia, running into you. It all just feels like a dream. I dare to imagine what would have happened if I had ignored your letter and never met you. I wonder the same thing, she admitted quietly. What if I had given up on everything and decided to remain at the Parnell estate? What if I had entered a convent, or packed my life and fled in the night? Then I would have never gotten the chance to meet Ian, he says. I feel the same way. While in sleep, the words echoed heavy with memory. Dear wife, James calls for her. Dear wife, dear wife, dear wife, Olivia replies. James, don't call for me, she asks him. What was I to you? Why couldn't you have warmed up to me even once? There's no point in any of it now. As he reaches out for her again, she pulls her hand and says, Our ties as husband and wife have long been severed. As she said that, the figure of James faded away. Then she says, You with your life, you don't even know me, she told herself. Stop holding on to all of this. Next day, she groaned as dizziness washed over her. She was exhausted and spent. She thinks, Goodness gracious, just like our first night. Not that I mind doing it with him, but my body isn't going to be able to handle this for long. And Ian hounding after me every single time we do this. She sniffs herself. I need a shower, Ian offered. How about I bathe you, Olivia? That's not what I meant, she replied, exasperated. I meant for you to head to your quarters. How could I? He said, amused. Leaving my exhausted wife all alone? His tone softened. Let me bathe you, have you all freshened and dried, then laid comfortably in bed. Her heart raced as she heard that. A few moments later again she was groaning, lying on bed. I let him bathe me, freshen me, dry me, and lay me properly in bed because I didn't want to wake the servants in the middle of the night. But how mistaken I was. They did the deed in Bath. She thinks, embarrassed. The sounds must have bounced off the tiles, ringing through the entire estate. And besides, why wasn't he even the slightest bit exhausted? As her back hurts she droops, so he asks, My gosh. Olivia, are you okay? Does it hurt? Yes, she groaned, glaring at him. All thanks to you. I mean, it did feel pretty good, but you're officially banned from my chambers for a week. Excuse me? He sputtered. I thought we were seeing each other tomorrow, she says inwardly. Good Lord, grow some common sense, she fumes. Hey, I'm not built like you, Ian asks thoughtfully. So, are you saying I went a little too strong? Yes, she snapped. You went until I fainted, he replies. Understood. It's a shame I can't spend the night with you, but it will have to do. Why don't you come find me when you want it? She asks. When I want it, he kissed her and says. Yes. Whenever. He paused, then softened. One moment. Let me get the help and have them bring you a hot water bottle. Dazed, she watched him rise, the door shutting behind him. That little fox, tricked again. Later, while having tea, Olivia thinks, That's better. Ramana calls her, Madam. A message from the Alkesis estate? Olivia asks. From Romeo. As she grabs the letter she thinks, He had been on my mind after we parted that way yesterday. She unfolded the note. As she reads the letter, tears started dripping from her face. She reads, Make sure you stay happy, Ollie. She felt touched. Meanwhile, Romeo recalls his interaction with the crown princess. Starters asks, Who knows? You and I could be lucky too. Or maybe not. Do you care to test it out? She grabs him and kissed him. After the kiss, tears came to Romeo's eyes. He thinks, seriously, everything was so messed up. Pulled by the cuff into our first kiss. And then I tear up like a pansy. Her Highness must have been alarmed. Starters asks him, Are you crying? He wonders, why had she been so angry? I thought she was cool-headed. Come to think of it, a lot of things were off that day, starting with her little disagreement with the Duke. Just then a servant informs him, Master Romeo, you have come home. A guest has been asking for you. He groans, even back home, I'm still not free to rest. While walking up the stairs he recalls James Parnell saying, she had been tricked. I didn't think he would be particularly lying about anything, but Ollie said that the Duke was a good man. And I don't think their smiles I saw could ever be anything short of true happiness. He stopped in front of the room, then knocks at it. May I come in? He went in and saw James sitting in the dark. James asks, Your eyes. Romeo replies, Don't mind that for now. It's embarrassing. He cleared his throat. James questions, So, when can I be acquainted with my wife? That, Romeo said quietly, steadying himself. I would like to deny your proposal. I will not let you meet Ollie, James asks confused. What? Romeo replies, marrying Ian Tyrone was something Ollie truly wanted. As her friend, I only wished for her happiness. I had no intention of helping you ruin it. James slams his hand on table and shouts. I told you she's being tricked. He then rises up from his seat and gets close to Romeo. Romeo flinches. James adds, do you honestly think it even makes sense? Marriage to an impotent man? Do you think a household without children can truly be happy? Romeo took a sigh and says, having a child is not necessary for a marriage to be happy. I'm done talking to you. Please leave. James remained silent for a moment, then went past by Romeo saying, I trusted you to be my wife's true friend. Turns out I was wrong. He slams the door shut and left. Romeo says they're standing alone. I trust her decisions as her closest friend. Just then he remembers. Wait, just a moment. How would James Parnell even know we're close? The day of the birthday festivities, inside the Tyrone estate. The maid exclaims, my gosh, you're radiant. Your height really does this dress design justice, madam. Olivia replies, there's no need to compliment me so much. One of the maids says, madam, we mean it. Just then Ian came and says, you tend to be far too humble at times. He adds, just stay right by my side today. She asks, why? He leans in and whispers in her ear, I'm worried you might be a little too beautiful. Seeing that, the maid squealed, but Olivia yelled cringe. While in the carriage, Olivia asks, did you really have to do that in front of the maids? There's a time and place for. As she looks at Ian, he looks a little hurt. It's not that I don't understand your affection, she replied softly. I'm just asking for some control. Ian smiles and then gave a peck to her cheek. Thank you for understanding. Olivia thinks, maybe I'm just not used to this much attention. I keep pushing him away, even when I'm enjoying it. At the Parnell estate, nobody cared about me. There was never space for me in the carriage. I dressed myself, with no one to aid me, unable to attend any social events. Just then Ian brought her out of her thought. Why are you spacing out? What's on your mind? She replies. Nothing, just... He grasped her shoulder firmly. If your mind is wandering even when you're alone with me, who knows what might happen among all those people? He pulls her close for a kiss. She refuses. What? We're already here. We should exit. Before she could finish, he pulled her back. She complains. I knew it. Not a day goes by without. Meanwhile, the carriage was at his destination. The maid wonders, why aren't the Duke and Duchess exiting the carriage? Another agrees. Right? Just then the door creaks opens and Olivia came outside. Her makeup was a little messed up around her lips. One of the maids says, Madam, your makeup. Feeling embarrassed, Olivia says, could you fix me up quickly? Moments later, as they walk together, Olivia says to Ian, I'm already regretting understanding you. Could you please control yourself? He smiles. Hey, we still finished the important stuff inside the carriage. She complains again. Please control yourself in the palace, he replies. But... Meanwhile, the Emperor was watching them from his window. His aide asks, should I summon the Duke and Duchess, your Majesty? The Emperor replies, no need. They'll come inside in time. 20 years ago, the current Emperor was called by the previous Emperor his father. In audience with him, he says, Your Majesty, the previous Emperor says, the Queen, your stepmother is with child. This will be your younger sibling. I ask that you take care of them. My days are now numbered. This news fell on him like despair. The Emperor adds, I worry for the Queen, and your soon-to-be-born sibling. The current Emperor fumes in his office. That demented old man never ceases with his lunacy. Setting aside the governing of the empire, he spent his youth engulfed in drugs, luxury, and hedonistic indulgence. And now, so close to his deathbed, he takes in a new queen and gives her a child. The lightning rumbles as he thinks, what if she gives birth to a son? I need to get him out of the picture. Just then he calls out, Is anyone there? His attendant replies, Yes, your Majesty. He orders, Summon the Duke. Back to the present. The Emperor orders his aide, Let us start preparing. His aide bows, Yes, your Majesty. Just then Ian asks Olivia, You asked whether there was something between the Emperor and me. She replies, Yes, I did. He says, Your suspicions are correct. There is a story between us. I intended to keep it secret, carry it to my grave, but it seems he plans to announce it publicly today. So I hope you won't be too alarmed by the news. Olivia looks at her for a moment looking all serious, but the next moment she says, You two aren't lovers or anything, right? Ian replies. No. A long silence followed. Olivia wonders. Then what? As they were about to enter banquet hall, Olivia remembers this place. I only remember entering it alone. Always alone. But now, thinking that, she grabs Ian's arm. The announcer calls out, "The Duke and Duchess, Lord and Lady Tyrone." The announcement rang through the hall. Olivia smiles, thinking, I am no longer the pitiful Lady Parnell. While in the hall enjoying food, drinks and the music, the attention was inevitable. The whispers, the staring. Olivia thinks, I've lived long enough to remain unfazed by such idle talk. Ian murmured, "You're doing better than I expected." She laughs. "Honestly speaking, my legs are turning to jello," he replies softly. "Then let them give out," she asks. "Huh? Why?" he adds. "So I can sweep you up and carry you to the resting chambers." Olivia just stares at his nonchalance. He says, "If you keep staring at me like that," she whispers to him, "you'd want to kiss me?" She caught what was on his mind, so she frowns. "Oh, grow up already." He truly doesn't change. The onlookers murmurs to each other, "I've never seen Lord Tyrone like that. Maybe the rumors are true. They were dating all along." Someone noblewoman giggles. Then the stories about their steamy first night in the palace. A faint frown crossed Olivia's face. "I can hear you." Just then she saw the same red-haired woman. Olivia remembers, "The woman I saw at the Amaranti restaurant." She turns to him. "Ian, tell me the truth now, and I promise I won't be angry." He replies, "Yes?" she says. "That woman who—" Before she could finish, a booming voice cut through the hall. "Make way for His Majesty, the Emperor!" Ian turns towards the announcement. Olivia groans, perfect timing. As the Emperor walks, the audience bows. He went up to the dais and began. "At ease, everyone." Ian and Olivia also bows. Then the Emperor calls out with open warmth, "Dear sister-in-law!" Olivia gets shocked to see him waving towards him. The murmurs erupts in the audience. "Sister-in-law? I knew he cared deeply for Lord Tyrone, but it's her second marriage. It just isn't right." Olivia sighs, "I knew it." The Emperor announced with a thin smile, "Thank you all for attending the birthday celebration of an old man. I am pleased to share wonderful news on my birthday. Princess Startes and Lord Romeo Alkesis have decided to be engaged." Another wave of murmurs rippled through the crowd. The Emperor huffs, then claps his hand. A priest brought the engagement rings. Behind him the crown princess and Romeo came. The Emperor says, "Let the couple come forth." The people in the crowd exclaims, "Whoa, they're getting engaged on the spot?" Olivia thinks in her mind, "A crown heir's engagement has never been so simple. It must be the Emperor's intention to hasten the wedding and pass on the imperial crown." The pair stepped ahead. The Emperor calls out the vows. "Do you swear to remain loyal to one another?" "Yes," Romeo and Startes both answered. Then they put rings on each other's finger. Then the Emperor calls Startes. She replies, "Yes, Your Majesty." The Emperor's gaze sharpens slightly. "If there were to be another in line for the throne, someone who challenged your seat, what would you do?" Again the murmurs started. "Another in line?" The murmuring grew louder. "What does he mean?" Startes replies, "I would, of course, edge them out fair and square. No one will ever be any match for me." The Emperor smiled wholeheartedly. "Good, very good. It is surely my greatest joy to have fathered such a reliable heir, and to have found her a suitable partner." Meanwhile Olivia wonders, why did he ask something like that so suddenly? What is he even thinking? Then the Emperor continues, "I'm afraid I have yet another surprise announcement for you all." A tight clench of his hand followed. "I've had to make a rather stern decision as of late. As much as it reveals things about me, it was something I could no longer avoid." After a slight pause he announced, "Everyone, the Duke Ian Tyrone is actually my youngest baby brother." Everyone gets shocked upon hearing that. The Emperor stares at Ian, who remains quiet. The Emperor continues, "My own greed kept me from granting him the rightful title he deserved, but I've decided it is time that wrong was corrected. You two, would you come forward?" He extends his hand towards Olivia and Ian. Olivia was frozen in place. "It's all right." Ian clasped her hand and murmured, "Let us go." Olivia thinks, I knew there was something unusual between them, but the Emperor's own brother. Both of them bows their head in front of the Emperor. The Emperor added warmly, "Such a decision is thanks to you, dear sister-in-law." "Not at all, Your Majesty," she replied calmly. "All I did was spread a scandalous ballad through the streets." "There's no need to be so humble, madam," he said. "I'm already guilty of taking from him everything he could have enjoyed as a member of the royal family." But the moment I realized I was also keeping him from the happiness of a wife and children, it opened my eyes. Olivia glances at him and thinks in her mind, in the past life, Ian Tyrone never changed his title. His imperial bloodline was never revealed. But now the face that he was married, and having children must have changed the Emperor's mind. My own actions had caused this much of a difference, Ian said quietly. It would have been best for you if you had ended my life as well, Your Majesty. I'm simply grateful to have lived long enough to enjoy this happiness, the Emperor says. Do not speak like that, Ian. Olivia concludes, so the tiara he gifted me, that too, must have been part of his intent. He wanted to officially declare Ian as part of the imperial bloodline. Then she remembers Ian's word. It's a long story, do you think you can bear it? I'm actually glad they passed away, she thinks. Now I understand why he said those things. Ian, how difficult it must have been, carrying this alone. She grasps his hand and smiles at him warmly. The Emperor raised his voice. From this day forth, I proclaim that Ian Tyrone shall be restored to his rightful title. The Tyrone estate will be elevated to a grand dukedom. He shall be granted claim over the Roland's Republic, and receive all privileges he has deserved since birth. A Grand Duke, a Republic. Ian had become the rightful ruler of his own state. And Lady Olivia Tyrone, the Emperor continued, turning to her, you are now the Grand Duchess. I ask that the Duchess show her people her utmost hospitality with her new title. Olivia exclaims in disbelief. Grand Duchess. She thinks, how could my life change so drastically? She bows her head. My deepest gratitude, Your. Just then someone called out. I object, Your Majesty. Upon hearing that voice, Olivia remembered whom it belonged. In her heart she prayed, no way. He is someone who shouldn't be here. Murmurs rippled through the hall as the person stepped forwards. Murmurs spread like wildfire. That is, how is that person here? As the person was coming forwards, Olivia remembered Romeo's word. Your ex-husband is currently in the capital. Olivia turns to see. Did you really think running from your struggles would be that easy? James Parnell was standing there. He says, Dear wife, come to me. Olivia recalls her past and thinks, how had I forgotten about this man? This man who haunted me, followed me all those years. James Parnell. In her past, as she asks James for a recommendation, he just replies, do as you wish. She thought, did he ever truly care? He had never once spoken his mind about anything. Not when I changed the manor's interior. Not when I bought new clothes. Whatever I did, he remained indifferent. Except for one thing. I can't help myself. Back to present, James calls out, Dear wife, come to my side. Olivia trembles upon hearing that. Ian glances at her trembling. James again calls, Dear wife, what is the meaning of this? Ian's voice cut in sharply. Can't you see you're frightening Olivia? I understand that the proof of annulment has made its way to the Northern Territories. The lady standing before you is now my wife, the Duchess Olivia Tyrone. You should know better than to call her wife. Ian's hand tightened protectively around Olivia's. Olivia smiles, feeling touched. She resolves. Right. Time to get my head straight. This is my new reality. I can't be pushed around like before. Does a proof of annulment hold any validity? James continued evenly. When I never stamped it with my seal? Whispers rippled through the ballroom. What is he talking about? No way. Does he mean? Then what do you make of the annulment document I hold? Ian countered. Are you accusing me of forging a document approved by the Emperor himself? James flinched as he heard that. Olivia thinks, having been stationed in a war zone at the time, James would never have stamped it personally. It had clearly been the doing of those three jackasses. They must have sealed it themselves, eager to rid the household of me. But falsifying a noble family's seal carried a minimum punishment of 10 years imprisonment. His mother's would pay dearly. Being the mother-loving good son he is, would he let that pass? James then spoke. The culprits who dared to use the Parnell seal without the permission of the head of the household have already been taken into custody, Your Majesty. Upon hearing that, Olivia gets stunned. It can't be. James? The man who never defied his mother's? Who endured every unreasonable demand? She glances around. Now that I think about it, I haven't seen those jackasses anywhere in the ballroom. It's unlike them to miss such an event. She wonders, did he really? Why is he going this far? At this point in the past, we're nothing. She faltered, thinking all about it. Ian steps up. Even if that may be the case, Olivia and I are officially married couple who have wed. Wed? James' expression darkened. He clenched his fists. So that's what you call this act of plunder? Ian replied coolly. Plunder? You exaggerate, Lord Parnell. James points. If you had even a sliver of conscience, you would know you are currently not in the right. Olivia frets, things are really no looking right. This is bad. Legally, the marriage to Ian is valid. Proper procedures were followed. But if someone insisted on digging to the very root of the matter, things could become messy in an instant. She wonders, since when was James Parnell opinionated? It's almost like I'm looking at someone else entirely. Just then the Emperor intervened. It is joyous to see you after so long, Lord Parnell, he interjected smoothly. You have changed during your absence from court. Hearing that another man has taken one's wife, James replied evenly, is bound to change a person, your majesty. The Emperor looks at her then says, let us refrain from using such expressions, the Emperor warned. The Duke has committed no wrongdoing. All proper procedures were followed. Moreover, the Emperor continued, if you truly mean well for Olivia, you should refrain from insulting her before so many witnesses. If I had attempted to correct this injustice quietly, James replied, I would never have been granted the opportunity. The Emperor frowns. James continues, you've had your amusement. It is time to return my wife to me, Lord Tyrone. Ian smiles. And if I refuse? Then, James said without hesitation, I will take her back by force. As he says that, Stardust puts a sword to his neck and says, watch yourself, Lord Parnell. Any further imposition will be considered an act of aggression against me, Stardust. Despite the sharp warning, the atmosphere remained rigidly formal. She says, we are here to celebrate the birth of our dignified emperor. Any personal matters shall be handled separately, whatever the conclusion may be. I bow to be fair mediator in the proceedings. Upon hearing that, James and Ian glances at each other and agrees. Ian says, of course. James replies, understood. A murmur rippled through the hall as they left. Truly, what a day. No one could have imagined things turning out like this. While walking back, Olivia's mind was conflicted. I hope he doesn't hate me for this. Perhaps he regrets deciding to marry me. Her thoughts spiraled. What happens to me now? Those three jackasses held the greatest meaning in James's life. If he had truly placed them in custody, if he was truly determined to abandon them, then it meant something far more terrifying. It meant he was just as determined to never let her go. Suddenly she felt heavy, burdened by her thought. She gasps and then collapsed. Ian saw her and quickly rushes. Olivia! Ian catches her and thinks, darn it, that man really had to push it. Just then Stardust came there and says, you really can't get anything done properly, can you? Ian looks down and then says, I owe you one. Stardust says, I guess expecting a thank you would be asking for too much. A proper thanks will be in order once that man had been completely expelled. As Ian doesn't reply, she clicks her tongue and then says, do you not consider it a little strange? As Ian turns to her, she says, the two of them were married on paper, never having met even once. Yet, the Duke surely treated her as though they shared a deep, tangled history as a couple. Just then Ian recalls the nights where in her sleep Olivia would murmurs in her sleep, dear wife, and he also recalls James saying, come to my side, dear wife. He concludes it was him. He was the reason for all of Olivia's sleepless nights. Stardust then asks him, do you need any help? Ian lifts Olivia up, carrying her, he says. No need, Stardust says inwardly. There's no need to be so cold. In her sleep Olivia recalls her past. One of her child says to her mother-in-law, Grandma. She replies, yes, my little one. The kid says, I don't like mommy. I like you the best. Olivia was standing near watching that. Dear wife. Suddenly James appeared and calls for her. He said again, stepping closer. Come here, dear wife. She trembles, turning. James. He went close to her and says, you surely test my patience. Just then she gasps and opens her eyes. Her heart pounded. She thinks James is here. I thought I had finally escaped. Am I supposed to go back to that torturous life? A light tap broke her spiraling thoughts. She turns to see Ian, who was looking worried at her. Ian. He quickly embraced her and says, you're okay. I've got you. You just had a bad dream. His voice was steady and close, grounding her. Whatever happened earlier and just now, they were simply dreams. Us, right here, right now. This is the only reality that exists. Got it? She nods. He studied her face for a moment, then gave a faint, teasing smile. What happened to the bold person I fell in love with? The one who ran out of the Parnell estate the very moment she got the chance. His tone softened. Seeing you this shaken just from the mere appearance of Lord Parnell. She cut in. Have I disappointed you? Of course not, he answered. In fact, I like it. I feel like I'm getting closer to you. Like I'm learning both your weak sides and your strong ones, he adds. You already know plenty about me, after all. Like how needy I am for your affection, or how I'm always shopping for my wife, whom I'm completely head over heels in love with." She chuckled lightly. Then he asks again, "But are you feeling better now? You were pale as a ghost." She swallowed and nodded faintly. The moment James called me, it felt like the dark past was swallowing me whole. But what scared me even more was how he treated me, as if he had known me for a long time. Because at this point in our lives, James and I had never met before." She added softly, "I'm sorry." "Huh?" He blinked. "For what?" "Our first official event as a married couple was a total disaster," she said. "And it was such an important moment for you. Of all the things that could have happened," she nibbles on her fingers thinking, "I should have taken Romeo's words more seriously." He grabs her hand and says, "Our first official event was our wedding, and as you know, it was a huge success. More importantly, the person who should be apologizing is that barbaric man. You have nothing to be sorry about." She hesitated, then confessed, "I was worried you'd ask me to break up with you, and His Majesty as well." He interrupted her by stretching her cheeks. She asks, "What are you doing?" Meaning, "What are you doing?" He replies, "I see someone as smart as a whip like you can still sound stupid." He sighed, then softened. "If something like this were enough to make me break up with you, do you really think I would have accepted you in the first place?" She trailed off. "That's, if you want me to prove my love for you," he continued firmly, "I'll gladly do it over and over again. I can't live without you, Olivia." Then she went on and kissed him. He said her name again, gentler this time. As she was about to begin, he stops her and says, "You went through too much today. You should take a rest." "I want to," she whispered, leaning closer. "Make me forget everything, with your warm embrace. As much as that's music to my ears," he replied with a small laugh that rolled her into a burrito. He says, "Not tonight. Even the doctor told me to let you rest." She started to protest, but he cut in with an annoying smile. "But I know just the thing my stubborn wife needs right now." She looked up at him. "What are you going to do?" He hummed softly. "Sweet little bird, off and got a willow leaf." His voice turned melodic. "Kiss me goodnight, no more tears." Meanwhile, James Parnell and his estate went to the dungeon. He opens a prison cell with a key and went in. As the door creaked opens, inside were his three mothers. They breathed, caught between shock and confusion. "James!" His mother's voice broke as she stared at him in disbelief. "My son, how could you do this to us? I gave birth to you." "Yes, Lord Parnell," another added stiffly, trying to sound composed. "No matter how angry you are, this is completely out of line. We did all of this for your sake. We couldn't just sit back and watch her tarnish the Parnell family's reputation." James thinks in his mind, "For your sake, for the Parnell family's reputation." That was always their excuse for being harsh on Olivia. A daughter-in-law from a mediocre family, with nothing remarkable to her name, a disobedient daughter-in-law. They had lamented endlessly. How could His Majesty arrange such a marriage? A girl so unworthy of the Parnell name. Was the family's prestige meant to be dragged through the mud? His mother ventured carefully. "Lord Parnell, why don't we talk this out?" James stops her by the gesture of his hand and asks, "So, who stamped the paper?" Silence fell before his maternal mother points. "Her! It was her!" His third mother gets stammers. "What are you talking about? That's absurd." She suddenly swayed. "Oh my head! I'm going to faint." She thinks in her mind, what happened to the person who said he wouldn't dare punish his own mother? These unsophisticated brutes truly can't be trusted. "Okay, fine." His first mother relented at last. "We admit we stamped the proof of annulment without your approval. But they asked for a divorce first, and even before the annulment was finalized, she moved into the Tyrone estate." James's jaw tightened. He clenches his fists thinking, "No, she's not the type of person to do such a thing. This had to be his doing. He must have done something to Olivia. I'm not going to let him get away with it." Seeing him in anger, his mothers felt chills. "Besides," his first mother pressed quickly, "she's just a girl you've never even met before. So, Lord Parnell, go back to the north. Complete your mission and make our empire proud. As for your second wife, we'll find someone well-behaved and worthy of the Parnell family. So don't trouble yourself over that." She thinks in her mind, who would have expected such defiance from someone as obedient as him? Perhaps it would be best to send him back north to cool off there. "Do our empire proud?" James let out a hollow scoff. "You people truly know nothing about me. Who do you think asked His Majesty for Olivia Florence?" His voice rang through the cell. "It was I. Everything I did for this country, It was all for my dear wife. Before anyone could respond, a servant hurried in, bowing deeply. Your Grace, a letter has arrived from the Tyrone estate. James took it at once and opens it. Let's meet up as soon as possible and settle this matter. Olivia Tyrone. Just as I wanted, he thought, I'll get her back, no matter what. At the Tyrone estate, Olivia sits in his office as Ramana approached. Madam, I've sent the letter to the Parnell estate. Olivia replied calmly. Good. We'll see what he writes back. Ramana adds. I don't know if dealing with Lord Parnell directly is a good idea. Don't worry, Olivia said evenly. I can handle myself. Just then another maid came. Madam, you have a visitor. Olivia wonders. A visitor? Down at the stairs Romeo was standing. He was visibly distraught. He apologizes. I'm so sorry, Ollie. Olivia approaches him in confusion. He kneels and says, I had no idea he was such a reckless person. If I had known, I would have done something. But it's all my fault. Strike me until you feel better. He nearly threw himself at her feet, wailing dramatically. Romeo, calm down, Olivia said, flustered. Calm down and let's talk about it. Just then a firm voice cut through. Lord Alkesis, there are eyes watching. The atmosphere shifted instantly. Please pay my wife the respect she deserves. Romeo turns to him. Your Grace, he greeted softly. Your Grand Ducal Highness. Ian turns to her. Good morning, Olivia, she says. Ah, yes. It was the first time she had seen Ian since that chaotic night. Both of them had been consumed with cleaning up the aftermath, leaving no room for anything else. Judging by the faint shadows beneath his eyes and the smudges of ink staining his fingers, he hadn't slept much at all. Work had clearly kept him up. Ian pulls her close affectionately, then glances down at Romeo. Romeo stepped forward with a polite bow. Greetings from Romeo Alkesis, Your Grace. Congratulations on becoming the Grand Duke. Ian replies, congratulations on your engagement as well. By the way, I hear you were my Ollie's classmate at the academy? Olivia's gaze sharpened slightly. She thinks, I told him not to be jealous of the nickname because it's nothing special. What a big baby. She glares at him. Ian. All right, Ian muttered. I'm sorry. I'll stop. Romeo smiles faintly seeing them, then says, Yes, Your Grace, as her classmate, I'm simply glad to see her Grace happy. Anyway, Olivia added gently, turning to Romeo. This isn't your fault but his, so don't blame yourself, Romeo admitted. But I can't help feeling this could have been avoided if I had done something. You did, Olivia said firmly. You warned me about him. You told me my ex-husband was here in the capital. I just didn't take your words seriously. As far as I knew, he was serving the Empire in the north. I never imagined he'd show up at the celebration. So none of this is your fault. Ollie. Romeo's eyes softened, and he was about to cry. Olivia says internally, he's such a kind-hearted soul. Then she asks, Is that why you came here first thing in the morning? Have you eaten? He replies, Not yet. Then join us for breakfast. She offered smoothly, then turns to Ian. You haven't eaten either, have you? Ian grins, then adds, I always have room for seconds. Olivia stared at him. What kind of answer is that? Their light-hearted moment was interrupted by a Ramana rushing in. Forgive me for interrupting, but there's another visitor. A familiar voice rang out as the doors flew open. Sister-in-law, Your Majesty? Olivia blinked in surprise. What are you doing here? I was worried sick, so I had to drop by. The Emperor declared dramatically. Sister-in-law, you're not going to dump our dear Ian like a sack of trash and run back to Lord Parnell, are you? I'm not stamping anything anymore, he added hastily. The Emperor's seal is irrevocable. Irrevocable, my. Olivia thinks dryly. You already retracted that stamp once. Ian took a sigh and scolded. You can't just barge in here like this. The Emperor protested. Don't be so hard on me. Olivia felt a quiet wave of relief. She had feared he might resent her after all. His own brother had become the laughingstock of the capital, and he had every reason to be upset. Yet he wasn't blaming her at all. I would never do that, she assured him gently. So please don't worry, Your Majesty. Phew, thank goodness. He sighed in exaggerated relief. 'Cause you're already family. That word struck with her, family. She recalls her past where her mother-in-laws would sneer. That's a part of our family now? So embarrassing. Thank you, everyone, she said sincerely in her mind. But she knew one thing: she needed to end things with James once and for all. A few days later, Olivia sat before her vanity as her maid prepared her attire. Madam, I'll help you get ready, Olivia says. Thank you. A letter rested open on the table. All right, I'll see you at Aramir tomorrow. James Parnell. Olivia thinks, choosing Aramir. For once, he had made a clever decision. The cafe was known for its open layout, wide seating, little privacy. It was precisely the kind of place where whispers traveled fast. That was why Ian and Olivia had become the talk of the town after being seen there together. At present, the entire capital had its eyes fixed on three people: Grand Duke Tyrone, Lord Parnell, and Olivia herself. Under such circumstances, selecting such a public venue could only mean one thing. He was trying to make her look foolish. "Madam," her maid asked softly, "which dress would you like to wear today?" Olivia's reflection met her own steady gaze in the mirror. She says, "Something fancy." After getting ready, she set out to meet James. A wave of murmurs followed her the moment she stepped into Aramir. "Look, it's Lady Tyrone. Sure, it's Grand Duchess Tyrone now." The whispers brushed against Olivia's ears like needles. She was already starting to feel drained. If she had properly ended things with James from the very beginning, none of this spectacle would have happened. She had thought he was nothing more than a puppet, manipulated by those three fools in his family. Never, not even once, had she imagined he was capable of acting on his own like this. It was a mistake to assume anything about anyone. But she resolved, "But it's okay. Without his sword he's no match for me." "Welcome, Your Grace," the attendant greeted with a bow. "Your company is already here." Just then Olivia recalls his previous interaction with the attendant where he had asked, "Do you have a reservation, ma'am?" Now more poised, she says, "Lead the way." He bows, "Yes, Your Grace. Right this way." James was seated in the most visible section of the cafe. She slides her chair. "Wife," he said the moment she approached. Olivia says, "It's not easy to infuriate someone from the get-go with a single word, but congratulations." She sits down and says, "Please address me properly as Grand Duchess Tyrone. I am no longer your wife." James began slowly. "I don't agree with that statement," she says evenly. "I don't require your approval for anything. Your mothers, whom you love so dearly, unanimously granted me permission to leave." A subtle twitch crossed his face. Around them, the whispers grew louder. "Goodness gracious, look at his expression. Should we be worried?" Olivia thinks, "Is he trying to intimidate me?" Olivia almost scoffed. She refused to be intimidated by a man who didn't even know who had purchased the shirt he was wearing. A waiter approached nervously. "May I take your order?" He puts down the drinks and says, "I'll return once you've decided." Olivia puts up the glass and gulps it down, thinking, "Tea? With him? He doesn't even deserve the complimentary water." "Anyway," Olivia said, folding her hands neatly, "as commander, shouldn't you be in the north?" "We captured Gale, the leader of the Celts," James replied evenly. "The north will remain safe for a while, even without me." Her composure nearly cracked. "Pardon? Already?" That was impossible. If she remembered correctly, it had taken him 5 more years to accomplish that in her previous life. He adds, "I pushed myself to return early." A cold realization crept up her spine. "No." Her mind raced. "Please don't tell me you," James said. "I hurried back because I wanted to see you as soon as possible, Olivia." Her fingers trembled despite herself. "Why all of a sudden? You can't do this to me after everything you've done." "How so?" His voice remained steady. "We barely know each other," he replies. "Regardless, I still consider you my wife. So come back. Grand Duke Tyrone's obviously just playing you." Olivia almost laughed. Ian's face surfaced in her mind. His sincere compliments, the soft concern in his voice. "She thinks," Ian whispered sweet words to me endlessly. I had never heard such words before, so I was constantly in doubt, and I'd even feel uncomfortable. But that's ancient history now. I know how sincere he is. "Watch what you say," she said sharply, her hand clenching. "Grand Duke Tyrone has been nothing but sincere with me." James's jaw tightened. "But he's—" She interrupts, impotent. James turns his head. "Yeah?" She replies, "What about it?" "It doesn't matter." "Of course it matters," he shouts. "A life without children is bound to be miserable. A marriage is incomplete without procreation." She let out a quiet scoff and rose from her seat. "We're done here. Incomplete without procreation?" She thinks, "If that were true, I should have been the happiest woman alive in my previous life. I didn't come here to hear you out," she continued coldly. "I called you here to listen to me." She picks the glass of water and splashes it on him. "And this is what you get for being rude. I won't repeat myself, so listen carefully. Our marriage is over. Let's ensure we never run into each other again, even by accident." Saying that, she left, leaving him there. Meanwhile, Ian was also there with Kenan in disguise. He glances at James, who was still sitting in his place. He heard James mumbling, "I'm not giving up on you." From a distance, Ian whispered, "He doesn't know when to quit." Kenan asks, "Why didn't you intervene, Your Grace?" "I promised Olivia," Ian replies calmly. "I told her I wouldn't follow her this time." He recalled her words, "This is something I have to do on my own, so I'd appreciate it if you didn't interfere." He had replied, "Yes, my love." Kenan asks, "Then what exactly are we doing right now?" Ian says, "Shut it." Kenan reached for the table anyway. "Might as well enjoy some free tea." As the liquid swirled in a cup, his eyes flicked toward the retreating figure. James Parnell. "Looks like he's not going to give up easily." Then he says, "Kenan, get up. We're leaving." Kenan replies, "But I just poured myself a cup." Ian rose, irritation simmering beneath his composed exterior. "I need to get home before Olivia does so she doesn't get suspicious." Kenan silently says, trembling with anger, "I swear, one day I'm going to spit in his tea." When they reached their estate, Ramana greeted them and told, "Welcome back, Your Grace." Her Grace said she was tired and went up to her room. Ian replies, "I see." He looks up looking sad. In her room, Olivia lies on bed. James's voice echoed in her head, sharp and accusing. "How can you move on like that? Is marriage just a joke to you?" "No," she had replies. "Marriage is no joke, and neither is divorce." She questioned, "In fact, what did you do to save our marriage? When I wrote to you for help, how did you respond? Please do not cause further division in the household. Listen to what my mothers have to say." "So I did exactly that," Olivia told him calmly. "I listened to your mothers and left the Parnell estate. Our relationship ended a long time ago." She exhaled. "I'm sick and tired of him." Just then someone knocks at her door. She gets surprised to see Annie. Annie calls for her. Olivia?" Oliva quickly says. "Come on in. To what do I owe this pleasure?" Annie steps closer saying, "I heard something happened during the birthday celebration, but..." She fidgeted, adding, "Both you and His Grace seemed really busy, so I didn't know how to bring it up." Olivia asked gently, "Did you hear about it at school?" As she doesn't say anything, Olivia hugs her and says, "You poor thing. I'm sorry I made you worry." "No, Olivia. You have nothing to apologize for," Annie said quickly. "I just wanted to check on you to see if you were doing okay." Then Olivia asks, "By the way, how's school? Are you enjoying herbology?" "Yes. I'm having a blast," Annie replied enthusiastically. "I'm really glad I followed your advice." "How do you know me so well?" Olivia chuckled. "Well, I am your sister." In her previous life, Olivia had never realized Annie had such a talent for herbology. She thinks, "I only found out about it after Annie moved into the Tyrone estate in this life. I might just be doing all of this for my own satisfaction." "And don't worry about the birthday celebration," Olivia added. "We're not leaving the Tyrone estate," Annie asks. "Really?" Olivia replies. "Yes, really. I mean, unless we're forced to move to the capital. After all, my husband is the Grand Duke now." She laughed lightly, and Annie joined in. "I just want you to be happy, Olivia," Annie said softly. "You deserve it, after everything you've been through. And the same goes for you, Annie." Olivia says internally, "I won't let her follow in my footsteps," she vowed silently, especially after what had happened today. Later, Olivia went to Kenan. "Kenan," he replies. "Yes, Your Grace," she says. "I need you to find someone." He asks, "A person?" "Yes. He works at the Information Guild in the capital," Olivia said, her gaze sharpening with resolve. "A boy named Eric."